All right, welcome into a Sunday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, live here from the UDL, just like we are every Sunday, brought to you by Lance Beal, attorney at law. Our guy, Lance Beal, you can find him up in Acadiana as he can help you out with just about anything you need professional lawyer or legal representation on. Find him at the law office of lancebeal.com is where you can find him online, and that's the best place to find him. Great website for our guy, Lance Beal. 337-991-6263 is the phone number. He can help you out with personal injury, small business, construction law, family law, estate planning. Your choice for reliable representation, our friend Lance Beal. There is so much information to get to here tonight on this Sunday. We appreciate you closing up your weekend with us. If you don't mind, hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that comment button, as we've got a lot to get to tonight. At some point, we will be joined by Mickey Joseph. We talked to the former LSU wide receivers coach, now on the Nebraska staff, set to join us here in a couple of minutes. We'll talk to him about his time at LSU, what's next, what he thinks of the Brian Kelly hire and the roster left behind from LSU and now working on for Brian Kelly. Some movement on the staff, or at least some movement on the staff since the last time we talked. Tommy Moffitt has learned that he will not be back with LSU. What an incredible story that will be to talk about from Moffitt after 21 years in the job and one of the just absolute soldiers of the sport. Being told by Kelly that it's over at LSU. I think that this is not a big surprise, or as big of a surprise as some people want to make it out to be. I think for the last couple of seasons there has been stories trending on Moffitt on whether or not he would return. 21 years at any job is almost a lifetime. 21 years in college football on a staff is an eternity. So we will talk about Coach Moffitt coming up here in the before we get out of here. BJ Ojulari will be here as we will ask BJ on the announcement. Of course, LSU learns out that they were going bowling as they will be fighting in the Texas Bowl against Kansas State on January 4th. That'll be the same night that Kentucky is in town taking on the basketball team. What are you more interested in? Their storylines. We heard from Brad Davis. Yeah, Dale Brown is going to be named. Dale Brown Court will be officially named that night on January 4th on ESPN. So there is a lot to talk about from that standpoint as far as the bowl goes. And then Brad Davis, who's the interim coach, met with the press today, who I thought was pretty impressive. As Davis, for the first time, you got a chance to get introduced and hear from him. So it was really cool to see that. As far as the SEC championship game, wow, what a game for Alabama. It looks like that when they are on their A game, they might be the national champs. As Georgia yesterday, the number one team in the country for the entire year, looked unbeatable at times, was absolutely abused by Alabama. I mean, Alabama beat the ever-living hell.
And how are you shocked?
Georgia.
Like, how can you be surprised?
We were calling it last week.
I know. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. When you saw the last three games that Alabama had played against LSU, against Auburn, first of all. Against Arkansas. Like, these are teams that you should...
Destroy.
Can you hear?
I can't hear.
Oh, God. I mean, I told you, there's going to be some things that happen. I got it.
But yes, Alabama and Georgia.
Can you hear now?
It was a great game.
Here now.
For the SEC championship game, and it was great television. So make sure to turn the music off. People are saying that they hear the music.
Can they hear us?
Yes. Yeah, they can hear us.
Yeah. Okay, good. Sorry, look. Full disclosure, a lot of things going on. We're trying to get this thing shaped up for the new DL, right? And so we've had some people come in. We have some new things that are in the moves. Got some people coming in trying to figure out our equipment. Like, give us a second here. Look, a lot of things going on for the Jordy Culotta Show. Give us a second.
So we'll get to a lot of it here coming up. BJ Ojulari will join us here coming up in a couple of minutes. as there was a lot to get to and talk about here. I want to start in maybe not the place that you think I may be going, but the Butkus Award was named today. And I just could not believe when it came out that Damone Clark had lost out on this. And it's just unbelievable when you look at the numbers in comparison to where they are side by side to Nakobe Dean, who won the award. And it's almost, I mean, it is not almost, it is criminal to see the bias and just the storylines that the award presenters and people that are handing this out are following, because Damone Clark got jobbed as hard as anybody I've ever seen on the award circuit in college, NFL, professional, at any level, when you look at his credentials side by side to the winner. Damone Clark played 12 games this year compared to Nakobe Dean's 13. And Nakobe Dean is a starting linebacker for Georgia, who's one of the top team in the country. 13 games compared to 12 games. Damone Clark played 12 compared to Nakobe Dean's 13. Damone Clark had 78 solo tackles compared to Nakobe Dean's 29. Damone Clark had 135 total tackles compared to Nakobe Dean's 61. Damone Clark had 15 and a half tackles for loss compared to Nakobe Dean's 8.5. And Damone Clark had 5.5 sacks compared to Nakobe Dean's 5. Every single stat line that you are measured by as a defensive player, Damone Clark has better numbers, and in some instances, he laps Dean. Like the 135 total tackles compared to 61, or the 78 solo tackles compared to 29. 15 and a half tackles for loss compared to 8.5. The numbers are egregious when you look at them side by side, comparing Dean and Clark. And the fact that this award went to a team that's, in the hunt, in the talk, I think really kind of proves to you everything that goes into handing these things out, and just how much there's not a serious board that's behind it, looking at it and saying, hey, look, man, the guy that's the best linebacker in college football is in Baton Rouge, and even though they're 6-6 and they fired their coach and they're looking for a new coach and things down there seem like they're in disarray, he's the best linebacker in college football. And the fact that he didn't get the award, somebody needs to be answering for that, man. That is just criminal on its face. It really is. I mean, it's amazing that we have gone through this, and I think Mickey Joseph is ready. Let's give him a call. We'll take a real quick. We just be 25 seconds.
Sorry about that intro.
I'll come
fellas.
right.
A lot going on.
I'll come right back, and we will have Mickey Joseph ready for you here on the Jordy Culotta Show.
Hey, my bad, man. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
The mic's hot?
Oh, yep.
Come on, man.
Dude,
I understand. I don't care. Indiana by our guy Mark Pop Norman. Developed it back in 2018 and won Amazon's Newcomer of the Year in 2019. They pride themselves in having 30% less salt and sodium than the leading brands at the same price point. You can find them locally. Look for Papa Earl's at Rouse's, Calandro's, Mathern's, High Neighbor, and more. All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, live, driven, and powered by Go Chevrolet, online at GEAUXchevrolet.com. Remember, you can find them there. They're in Laplace and Baton Rouge. Stories everywhere in college football. The top 4 have been named. Alabama is in. Cincinnati is in. Michigan is in. Georgia is staying there. We'll talk all about it coming up here on the Jordy Culotta Show, but we want to get to you with Mickey Joseph, former LSU wide receivers coach, now going back to the college in which he dominated. Nebraska, coming out of New Orleans as the #1 player, has been on the LSU staff for the last 5 seasons. He's the was the associate head football coach and really in charge of recruiting a lot of the big-time players that have come through here the past couple of seasons, including some of these first-round wide receivers that we're seeing making plays every single day, like Jamar Chase and Terrace Marshall. It seems like Kayshon Boutte will be next. Brian Thomas is another star that looks like he is in the making. Malik Neighbors, all those guys were under the tutelage of Mickey Joseph the last couple of seasons, and we're looking forward to some insight here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Coach, good afternoon. Thank you for the time. How are you?
Jordy, how you doing, man? I'm doing good.
It is great to catch up with you, man, as I know the last couple of seasons have been a hell of a ride, and 2019 was a magical run. But if you could, how would you analyze? How would you summarize the last 5 years?
Well, we had some up and downs, but like I said, LSU's been a great place, to work at, and LSU's been great to me, been great to my family. My wife and my kids really enjoyed it, here, and I think that we wouldn't trade these numbers. It was good memories. It's good to come back home and experience the LSU atmosphere. Didn't come here out of college, and now returning back to my alma mater. But I'm just saying that we wouldn't trade these memories. It's been good memories. People have been good to us, and like I said, every day we went in that building, we gave LSU everything we had, and I'm not leaving the room, naked. I'm leaving it loaded for them.
Oh, wow. I mean, unbelievably loaded, Coach. And I wanted to talk about some of the players that have come through here in the last 5 years. In fact, we're watching Sunday Night Football right now inside of the studio, and we're watching Clyde Edwards-Helaire making plays with Tyrann Mathieu on defense, all these guys at LSU, but Clyde's been there the last 5 years. How good have the players been, just from somebody who analyzes, recruits, coaches players at this level? Have you seen come through the program since you guys have been there?
Well, first of all, we had some great kids come through with great character. In the last 3 years, I don't think we had any mishaps off the field. I don't think we have. But we did a great job of analyzing these kids for their character. Jack's big on that. He brings that to our attention a lot, and I think O understood that, and O wanted to do the same thing. We didn't want to bring kids in here that wasn't going to do things the LSU way, and I think we had some great players come through here. And take your hat off to those kids. They were team players, because we never put it about the individual. We always put it about the team. So there were some really great players come through with great attitudes. And, the 19 team was loaded with NFL talent. And, people always say, oh, y'all had great talent. Well, at the end of the day, I would tell people, don't say that, because that's how you win. You don't win with average players. Just the only thing you can say about him is that he's tough, but, you win with good players, and you win with good coaches, and it's a combination. And we had some really good players, and we had some really good coaches. So, we was able to win the national championship, and, the last 2 years haven't been up to the LSU standard of performance. And we understood that. Coach understood that. He knew, you got to win here. It's 5-5. That's not acceptable. 6-6 is not acceptable. And we understand that. And LSU has the right to make a change when they think it's not acceptable.
How much, from your point of view, associate head coach, How demanding is the LSU job?
Oh, I always say it's a pressure cooker. It's something always going to go down with it. You know, you play on Saturdays, you're going to get everybody best lick. You know, I mean, LSU's like I said, a standard. You know, it's a school. You know, the standard is high here. And, you know, it's really high in you know, the fan base and the university. They want you to hit it. You know, they don't want you to hit it. I mean, you know, at LSU, they think you shouldn't lose a game. Right. You know, and some of the talent, you know, but other people have talent too, you know, but it's just, it's a high standard. The standards are really high here, and you got to meet it. You got to meet it. You know, if you don't meet it, you know, you'll be like us. You won't be here.
Yeah.
You know, because they have their mind made up, and they have that right. They have their right. They have their right to be like that, because at the day, it is LSU.
How much competitive, or how have you seen the conference get better over the last 5 years?
I mean, it's never a week off in the SEC. You know, I don't care if you're playing Arkansas. I don't care if you're playing Kentucky, Vanderbilt. You're getting ready. This conference has gotten better and better because, you know, because of the coaching and because of the great players that want to come play in this league. You know, and you can't take it away from the league. It's probably one of the better leagues in the country. You know, I mean, I think we got 2 in the finals this year.
Yeah.
You know, so it's always going to happen like that. You know, because at the end of the day, you know, everybody wants to play in the SEC. We
are biased. You're in the game. Do you have any explanation on why Damone Clark didn't win the Butkus Award?
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't even know it was going on. But I'll tell you that, you know, in my mind, boy,
I mean,
this kid, you know, this kid did a hell of a job, you know, with you know, Durante's scheme and Blake Baker, you know, coming in with this kid. This kid was a night. He flipped the switch. I mean, he always had the talent, you know. He had to clean up some things, and he did it. He's a very respectful kid, but I love talking to Damone, you know, because he loves his baby girl, you know, and that's what he played for. Yeah. And that kid did everything right. And that's what shows you kids can come here and get 3.0s and be great football players, you know, and he's a hometown kid. So he's going to benefit from this. He might not win the buckets, but he's going to get drafted from LSU.
Yeah.
And he's going to he's going to graduate from LSU.
I don't know if there's no, go ahead. Sorry.
It's a win-win for him.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a college football player in the country that made more money this season by coming back and showing what he did this year more than Damone Clark did. I mean, he just shot up draft boards, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Coach, I know that nobody will feel sorry for you guys in the industry. That they know that you guys make a ton of money and you get a lot of glory and you see a lot of cool things. But can you tell the listeners and kind of give insight to what the life of a coach is for kind of times like this where, you know, what the last maybe 6 months or at least 3 months have been like just as a coach when it's unstable times?
Well, the big thing is that, you know, you got to coach to the end. You know, you got to coach to the end, and if you're in this profession long enough, you know it's going to happen.
Uh-huh.
You know, there's 2 types of coaches: one that's been fired, and one that's about to get fired.
Right.
You know,
right.
So understand that. But the life of a coach is that you sacrifice your family.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and O was good about family. If you had something to do with your kids, you know, your family, he was like, go. Didn't no matter what, he was like, go. But you sacrifice your family. You put this university football team first in front of your family. And everybody's, oh, you make a lot of money. But yeah, but it's like you said, it's families involved, it's kids involved in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so when people start blasting you, your kids got to hear that. So it makes your kids grow up a little differently than the kid next door.
Absolutely.
You know, because sometimes they don't want to go to school on Monday because you lost the game on Saturday. You know, and that's the only thing I tell fans is like, just remember it's kids involved in when you're talking about entertainment. This is entertainment, Jody. It's not life or death. It's entertainment.
Right.
I always tell them that if the world's about to end tomorrow, they ain't going to get the best football coach.
Right. Right.
They're going to get that scientist. They're going to get that dude that know what, they're not doing that. And football's I tell my kids this, football's a small part of life once you're done with it. The big part of life is family. The big part of life is family. Football's a small part. And you might be here and you might say, man, it's the end of the world if we're going to win and lose this game.
Mm-hmm.
No. It's the end of the world if you lose your mom, you lose your dad, you lose it, you lose a family member. Not that football game. Once you gave your all and gave everything on the field, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some.
Mm-hmm.
But the pressure as a coach is that it's always a roller coaster. And it's not just you on a roller coaster, it's your family. I got to pick up. I got to pick up and move a family.
Mm-hmm.
I got a kid that loves our school at Dunham High School, Dunham School. But she got to pick up. And guess what? She's 6, and she understands that. A 6-year-old understands that.
Wow.
Think about that.
Yeah.
She's 6, and she understands like Dad didn't get it done, so Dad's got to move us to another job and hope he can get it done there. And that's why you stay ahead of this thing. That's why you stay ahead of it when you're about to get let go. You got to do 2 things. You got to be looking for a job, and you got to be trying to get ready for that game Saturday. Because at the end of the day, when you're going from here, nobody gonna think about what's going on with my family, if my family's surviving, because they're gonna move on to the next coach, in which they should, because that's the way this profession is. I always say this: it's a great profession, it's an ugly business.
Yeah.
But we choose to be in it, so we understand it. So hey, it is what it is. But that's the truth.
Yeah, for sure. Mickey Joseph joining us here. Former associate head coach for the LSU Tigers, now a part of the Nebraska coaching staff, a place that he played and has gone after him a couple of times. That's why, Coach, I wasn't surprised when Brian Kelly was announced and he said that he was hoping to land a couple of his assistants from Notre Dame, but when Marcus Freeman was named head coach and he kept the staff in place, you don't have to uproot your family, you don't have to move across the country, and it was really kind of a decision that was probably very easy for those guys just from a personal standpoint. How do you think Kelly will do here? What did you think when he was announced?
Well, I mean, BK, he don't want every way he win.
Mm-hmm.
He don't want every way he win. The challenge is going to be now is the SEC. That's the challenge.
Yeah.
That's the challenge for any coach that takes the job in that. BK's he's a vet. He's a vet at this. He knows what he needs to do down here. But like I said, wherever he went, he had a winning plan. So I think everybody's got to sit back, be patient, and let him put his plan in effect and support him. Because at the end of the day, nobody's bitter about not being able to stay, because he has that right to, as a coach coming in, to put the people around him that he trusts, that knows his plan. And because his plan, he has a plan. I mean, he don't want every way he went. And the challenge now is going to be, now you got to show that you can win in the SEC. I think he's going to be able to do it. He's talented in that building, and I think he's going to do a good job of recruiting. He's doing a good job of, getting with the kids and relating with them. I mean, people say, oh, he's never been down here. But that's okay. That's okay if he's never been down here. It's still America. It's still the United States.
Yeah.
So he'll get adjusted. Eat a little red beans here and there, a little gumbo, and he'll be fine, because let me tell you what we left in that building. We left great kids in that building.
Uh-huh.
We left great kids in that building. So he's coming into not a knucklehead team. He's coming into a good football team. A good football team for his good character kids. So, it's not like he's coming in, he's going to, fight the battle that they're bad kids. They're not bad kids, they're great kids. Because that's what O demanded us to do. Find great kids. If they had any red flags, I promise you, he gets up out of his chair and you just take them off the board. And make it easy on you. Make it easy on you.
Yeah.
And once he gets to get some guys around him, and he's gonna be fine. I think he's gonna be okay. I think he'll win. He'll win.
How good can Kayshawn be, or how good is he?
I think Kayshawn's a top 10 pick.
Mm-hmm.
I said it with Jamar. I said it with Justin. I thought Justin should have been a top 10 pick. And what he did after his rookie year, he should have been the first receiver taken. But they make mistakes in the NFL. But Jamar's doing what he has to do. But I think Kayshawn can be just as good as any of those guys. I thought if Kayshawn stays healthy, we back in Tallahassee at the Biletnikoff.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to win it. But one thing about Kayshawn, and let me explain something about this kid. This kid's a total team player. Total team player. You know, he never came in on Sunday and said, "Hey, I didn't get enough touches. You know, I need to do this. I need to do that." You know, when we said we had to put those young kids on the field, Brian Thomas and Deion at X, he did the same thing Justin did. He said, "I'll go to F, and I'll move inside." Guys, he just got finished leading us in receiving. Same thing Justin did. Right. And he goes inside. But let me tell you, that's the culture of that room. That's the culture of that team. That is about winning as a team. And that's what BK's getting. Kids like that. You know, this kid's a warrior. He gets after it. He gets after you. You know, I remember when he came in as a freshman, Jamar, he was behind Jamar. But this dude showed up every day trying to beat Jamar out. You know? Right. Trying to beat him out. Yeah. And you know me, I'm egging it on. Sure. I'm like, get after him, kid, Sean. He can't. He's not better than you. You know. Right. You know, get after him. Right. You know, and you know, at the end of the day, the kid believed it. You know, the kid believed it. How good are the story? How good are the stories from the practice field that you've seen over the last couple of years? The Stingley, Jamar, the battles that you've seen. Oh, Coach, I've seen DJ Chalk and D-Jack. Uh-huh. You know, you see Stingley and Jamar. You know, you seen Greedy and Terrence. So you don't see some. You know, you seen NFL guys getting after it. You know, and guys on Tuesdays we had 15 minutes with the DBs and receivers. We had 15 minutes to ourselves. We did all kind of stuff, stacks, start blocking. They got after each other, and that's a competitive period. The one-on-ones was a competitive period on Tuesday because it was for 15 minutes. You know, and we broke it up. But I'm just telling you that you've seen just great players. Russell Gage, you know, you see guys like that. You know, how Justin Jefferson, you know, and just corners. You know, Tolliver. I just can go up and down the list. You know, even you know, just with Delpit, you know, covering Justin in the slot. You know, it was a great feeling just to see those kids come out and compete every day.
When did you know Joe Burrow was Joe Burrow?
I think I knew that, and I was telling Jaquez this on the interview the other day. I think I knew that when we played Miami and Dallas, and the coaches go down kind of early before the call out session when we call the special teams up, and we get a little rowdy in there. And Joe was the first one down there, and he dapped every one of his teammates off. Remember, Joe got there in June, you know. So he dapped every one of his teammates off, just shaking their hand as they went into the call-out session. And I guarantee you, Joe didn't know all those kids' names. Sure. But he was showing right then and there that I'm going to lead this team. And I think right there, that's when those kids was like, you know what, we're going to follow this dude. You know, we're going to follow this dude. And he was the truth, man. He was the truth. He's a fierce leader. He was a kid that was a tough kid from Ohio. And the kids knew he was tough, and you know, if there was a fight on the field, he was the first one in it. He was the last one to leave. You know, and that's what you respect about Joe, and that's when we know he was special. I thought I knew he was special that game, when the Miami game, when he shook everybody's hand. You know, and I said, this kid's gonna be good. You know.
How good of a leader was he from a football standpoint? I know that everybody has their stories, but like just the day in, day out stuff that you guys want your players to have, how much did he have it in spades, and when did you kind of see that, like, guys, this guy, he might be a little different than the rest of them?
He came up every day. Mm-hmm. He came up every day like he was a coach. He met with Steve Ensmig and Joe Brady every day. You know, when Joe Brady was in here in 18, he came up, he met with Munoz, and he met with Steve. He was always in the building. He was in the building more than me. He used to beat me there on Sunday sometimes. I used to get there at 10 because I'm like, shit, I didn't get out of here to 1. I used to be there at 10. And I said, Joe, what time you got here at 9? He beat me again. Right. So he used to beat some of the coaches in, you know, and, you know, because we had late nights. But he's, you know, get up and get in there, and the kid was well prepared. And the things, the adjustments that he wanted to make on game day made sense. You know, so this kid was a true leader. Mentally, this kid's probably one of the smartest quarterbacks I've been around, you know, and I'm sure that NFL is saying the same thing. This kid can process well. He understands things. He can see it, and he can deliver it.
Have you ever? That's one thing about him. I'm sorry. Have you ever had a quarterback like that, or anybody on your team kind of like that, to where you're like, this guy is unbelievable? It's kind of like having an NFL quarterback as a junior in college.
Yeah, and that's what it was like, you know, and and that's what it was like. I mean, just look at the two kids that he competed with that he transferred because they said they beat him out. I don't think they're still in the league. I think they're out of the league.
They are. Right.
So I'm telling you, sometimes you got to look past that 4-star and 5-star.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just got to say, okay, who's the better football player? And if you look at those three quarterbacks, you probably say Joe was the better football player. Probably not the better athlete, the better football player. And to be a football player, you got to be mentally tough. You got to be physically tough. And you got to be able to process fast. Mm-hmm. And I think that kid has all three.
What was the offensive dynamic like in 19? What was that room like with Ensminger, Brady, you, Burrow, Tommy Robinson? What was that room like when you guys would kind of get together and collaborate?
Well, I mean, I thought everybody did their part. Ensminger gave us, things that he wanted us to work with, and Joe was working with third down and red zone, and so I did most of third down and red zone with Joe, and then the RPOs, did the RPOs and did the first and second down, normal down throws, But we had a great group. We had George Munoz in there, and also, so we had a great group. We had, Tommy really understood the run game and protections, so we had a great group. We all worked together, but one thing they didn't have any egos. Mm-hmm. No egos. Steve Ensminger is one of the best dudes I've ever been around. He's like a brother to me, No egos. He told when he pulled me in, he taught me this game. When I came in from Louisiana Tech to LSU, Steve Ensminger was the first one to pull me in and talk to me. And he was talking to me like he knew me for years. And me and him just, him and I, we just had a relationship. And and that's the thing about it. We just had great relationships that year. Not that we didn't have great relationships in 20 and in 2021 because. We had a great relationship when Jerry was here. Mm-hmm. When Jerry was here and Scott was here, we had a good relationship. But in 19, it just clicked. And I just think that right now, they better try to call Brady up.
Were you surprised to see that news today?
My people was telling me, they were calling me, and it was like, hey, Brady got snapped today. I was like, huh? I didn't see it coming, but I'm just telling you, like, he has a relationship, with the kids in the room. He has a relationship with the kids on offense, and he's a guy that understands the LSU culture. And I think is a guy you probably should look at to bring back because he understands what we need to do there.
Do you think he goes back to college?
I don't know, maybe. Mm-hmm. Maybe. I mean, because Joe's young. Joe was a better recruiter than he thought. Joe didn't. I was like, Joe, you're a really good recruiter because Joe's got a great personality. He's open. He understands different cultures. But he had a great personality. But Joe was a really good recruiter. I know people didn't think he wasn't, but he was a really good recruiter. He identified with these kids. He identified. He wasn't intimidated when he walked in that room with Terrence and Jamar. He just came from the Saints. But Joe understands how to get things done on the college level. I mean, he went to the NFL because that's where he came from. Yeah. But this thing, he understands how to get things done on the college level. He really understands that.
What did you get to know about Brad Davis, and what do you think about the situation he's in right now as the interim going into the bowl?
Well, you know what, Brad's a good friend of mine. We fraternity brothers, and when it was time for him to come over here, I made a call to him, and I recruited him back here. So I felt bad that this happened like this, but I think the situation he's in right now is that he has a full control of that room, and I think that he's one of the guys that BK probably should sit down with and talk with, because he's a great recruiter. He's from Baton Rouge. He loves LSU. He wants to be here at LSU. He don't say that to me, and I think he's going to do a great job as an interim head coach. I think he's going to do a really good job, because he knows how to relate to the kids. He's going to communicate well with the coaches, and he's going to do a great job. And I think they're going to be fine in a bowl game under his leadership. I think he'll do good for this next month because it's going to be a month. I don't know where they play, January 4th, something like that.
January 4th, yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be a month. So he'll lead them, and I'm sure BK will be out there to help him. But I think Brad's a guy that, that's a good role for him, and I hope they keep him. Hope they keep him, because like I said, I recruited him back here, talked to him about coming back here, it didn't last long, so you feel bad. You feel bad when things like that happen, but like you say, it's part of the profession.
Scott Frost has been on your trail for a long time. He's thrown some money at you. He's thrown titles at you. He's been trying to get you back to your alma mater. What's it mean to go back to Lincoln right now, and what's the expectation for you and what's next?
Well, like I told Scott, I said, Scott, you understand, that you need to win, and I think that he will win. We will win next year. And the thing about Scott is I understand that I see that Scott has this program going in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
He lost a lot of close games, so, he's going to sit back and figure out why he lost those games. But Scott's a young head coach, and he's done a great job at UCF. He's going to do, we're going to get this thing going in Nebraska. We're going to get it going. That's one reason I said I would go. I went 2 reasons. I knew Scott had this thing going in the right direction. And at the end of the day, it's my school. And I wouldn't be talking to you today right now, Jordy, if it wasn't for the University of Nebraska and Tom Osborne and that fan base. I wouldn't be talking to you today, because at the end of the day, when we were at Nebraska, we went to Nebraska, I never talked about leaving Nebraska.
Yeah.
And that's one of my big things when I start bringing kids up from down south, that they're not going to leave. Because I'm going to be the one to tell them, like, hey, I went through the same feelings you're going through right now.
Yeah.
And I know how when I left that place, that was a great place. And it's what 30 years later, it's a wonderful place. I already looked at it. 3-8. They were 3-8 against Iowa. They got over 90,000 fans in the stadium. Well, where they do that at? Where they do that at?
Yeah, right. It's the only spot.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. So, you got 90,000, and you're 3-8. So I think the ceiling is high. I think that, we got some kids in the building that can play. We'll add some kids, add some kids in to help us. And I think we're going to be fine next year. I think, like Scott's got this thing, he's got a good plan, and we're going to stick to the plan, and we're going to win some football games.
You've seen Terrace and Jamar and that class come through here. How special, I know we can't talk names because you're on a staff right now, but you've been recruiting this state as hard as anybody. How special is the state in 22?
Oh, it's special. It's special. I mean, it's special. It's a lot of good players. It's a lot of good players, and it's gonna be a battle for them.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody's in here trying to get them. And that's what you got to do. You're gonna have to sit there and fight them off. You got to fight them off. You got to fight them off because they're gonna come in here. They're gonna try to get them.
What's it like recruiting against Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Texas A&M? What's that like day in, day out? I mean, what keeps you up at night in recruiting against them?
That day up recruiting, I'm not.
Yeah.
And it does.
Yeah.
I mean, it does. And our stuff is this.
Yeah.
I say, if you're going to win a battle, you got a good player. You got to beat Alabama. You got to beat Georgia. You got to beat Texas A&M. But now you got to beat Auburn. Now you got to fight off Kentucky. When Napier's going to Florida, you got to fight off Florida now. It's some things you got to do. Arkansas, shoot, they're doing a great job down there.
Yeah.
So you got to fight everybody off, so you can't take for granted that a kid just say he's coming. You're gonna have to recruit him. And listen, it was battles. It's being up. I remember Jamar. The night before, he's saying, "Hey, I'm good," and then an hour later, it was Auburn.
Oh, God.
But it was Mama Talia said, "Hey, stop calling my house." Because you couldn't be out. So guess what? You got to battle those schools. You got to battle Jimbo at Texas A&M because he knows the league better than anybody. Sure, Nick's relentless at recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
You got to battle those guys. You got to battle Kirby. He comes under that same tree as Nick. Comes under the tree Nick. Nick's tree. I mean, so you got to battle those guys. And we were able to do it here at LSU. We, especially in-state kids. If we wanted them, we got them. If we wanted them, we got them. And that's one thing we did. We put a fence around Louisiana. I know I had to put a fence around New Orleans, but we put a fence around Louisiana. If we want them, we got them, And that's how it's got to stay. It's got to stay that way.
21 years in any profession is incredible. 21 years in college football at the same place seems like an eternity. How good is Moffitt at what he does, and what did he bring to the facility every day?
Well, Moffitt's probably one of the best strength coaches I've been around. Just for the knowledge of what's going on, and he brought energy. He brought energy in that building every day. And one day he did. He told those kids the truth. Told them what was that. Told them what was going on, and they believed in him. And you hate to see him go, but like I say, he understands that he had a good run. He had a good run. Because right now in these days, nobody stays at jobs past 10 years.
That's right.
Think about it. They stay after shoot. 10 years. The fans, they get bored. They want somebody else in there. But Moffitt did 20 plus years, man. You take your head off to Moffitt. Moffitt always had us strong. He always had us fast. Always had us in shape. So hey, he'll go. He'll get other jobs. He'll get other chances. He has a proven resume. He has a proven resume. But the thing about it, people always say you never worry about the head guys. You worry about those assistants. That they're going to find something. So you always, as a head guy, when you get let go, you try to find something so you can get your assistants on that make sure they have something. So Moffitt's going to be fine. I think Moffitt's going to work again. I think those assistants going to work again. But this part of the profession, change.
I appreciate your friendship, man, over the last 5 years. Getting to know you,
brother,
it's been really cool,
I appreciate you too, man.
Man, it's been really cool.
Yeah, it's been cool, and we'll be in touch.
Absolutely, 100%.
We'll be in touch, and you ever want to get up to Lincoln for a game, you just let me know.
Absolutely, I will do that, Coach. I will do that. Thank you very much for the information and the time this afternoon. I hate taking away family time on a Sunday night, but we appreciate you, and best of luck. We'll talk soon.
Well, like I always say, go Tigers, but now it's go Big Red.
Absolutely, baby. It's good to see number 2
All
backing
right.
up in Lincoln. See you, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, there is Mickey Joseph. That was 38 minutes with Mickey Joseph, talking a lot about personalities, a lot about some of the guys that he has worked with. And more people were talking about the fight that me and Lloyd were in before the interview.
Does that qualify as a fight? I feel
No,
like that's
not
like
a fight. But
fodder,
that is just the bunker caught it on a hot night.
That's how you know I have no idea what's going on with this new soundboard.
Right.
I have no clue what's going on.
Lance Beal, attorney at law, brings you our Sunday night conversation.
Shit sponsored, dude.
That's right. Lance Beal, our
I'd love
attorney
to play music, but
down
I can't.
down in Acadiana. Get in touch with him. He's in Lafayette, Louisiana. One of the great guys that is helping us out.
Lance.
Put these broadcasts on. Lance Beal and Acadiana. Law offices of LanceBeal.com. That was good stuff with Mickey Joseph. We appreciate him being there. Appreciate that very much. We will talk about the verbal back and forth between Lloyd and I. We will do that after we talk to BJ Ojulari. Give me 2 minutes. We'll reset. We'll be back with BJ here. We'll ask him what this week has been like as an LSU football player, with people coming out, people coming in. We'll ask the guy next here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by
I can't
Go
control that
Chevrolet.
either. Like, everybody can hear the Bluetooth phone ringing. So all of this is
I'm on my
fucked.
phone now.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy. You good? Yes, sir. All right, hold tight. Come to you.
All right, we're back.
All right, we're back here with BJ Ojulari, standout defensive end. Tigers have learned since the last time we have talked to BJ. The new head coach, they're going bowling, and some of the roster shakeups. So lots to talk about with our guy. BJ, good afternoon. How are you, bro?
I'm good, and you?
Absolutely, man. We're doing good. What was the reaction, bro? You're heading to Houston for New Year's. You'll be there January 4th, taking on K-State. How was the news received by the team?
Everybody's very excited. We get one more chance to go out there with our brothers and play. So it was very exciting to find out that we're going to Houston.
BJ, what's the last week been like, bro?
It's been real hectic. Finding out our new head coach, Brian Kelly, getting adjusted to just everything around the facility, and still adjusting to coaches changes, people leaving and stuff like that. So it's been pretty hectic.
What was your reaction? How do you feel about it?
I trusted Mr. Scott Woodward, and I think he made a great decision. He took his time. He put a lot of things into consideration, and I think he made a good decision. He got a winning coach, and that's what we needed. So I support his decision, and I'm all in.
Have you talked to Coach Kelly one-on-one? Have you been able to talk to him at all individually?
No, not really. We haven't really talked individually. We had 2 team meetings so far, but over the course of time, it's definitely going to happen.
How were those team meetings?
They were pretty good. He was just laying the foundation. His expectations of us, not just on the football field, academically. He just told us about himself a little bit and how we're going to move on. Not into detail yet.
What do you know about Brad Davis, the offensive line coach, and how do you like him being the interim here as you guys get ready for the bowl?
I think he's going to do a great job being the interim. He told us it's not going to be the same. He's not trying to kill us or nothing like that. We're going to practice hard. We're going to practice well, and we're going to prepare for the bowl game, and we're trying to win. So, the objective wasn't just to go to the bowl game; it was to win it.
When Brian Kelly initially was named, and all of you guys were reacting, was the majority of the roster all in? What's the majority of the team feel about the hire?
I'm not really sure. Everybody thinks Coach Kelly is a great coach. The resume speaks for himself. So everybody's just ready to see how it is, during the off season, during the in season practice, all that stuff. So I can't really say right now.
What do you expect over the next couple of weeks? How do you expect the schedule to go here as you guys can now continue to practice and stay in shape and get ready for a bowl?
So this week we're just finishing up with academics and finals. Saturday is our first bowl preparation. So from Saturday we're going to get probably even in the mid next week we're going to get our whole schedule for the bowl games. They informed us that we can go home to our families on the 23rd to 28th. During that Christmas time, because the bowl game is so late. So I know that's all we know right now, and we're going to get an in-depth schedule coming in the next week.
Good to talk to you, bro. Good news, I guess, for you. I guess stability's good, right? When things are coming in and you're finally figuring out what's going on, who's it going to be, that's starting to stabilize some things for you guys.
Oh yeah, it doesn't feel good, finally having our head coach know who he is. And getting moving forward into next season and progressing already.
Obviously, Coach Kelly called like a little impromptu team meeting per se. Like it wasn't exactly like mandatory attendance, but it seemed like LSU had a great deal of attendance there. What was the message you got from him whenever he appeared? And it was, he wanted to get in front of the team immediately. So what did that mean to you and mean to the rest of the guys on the team?
It just means that he's ready to go to work. Like he said, he's here to win. If he was at a basketball game, he gave a great speech to the whole school, like he's here to win games and just he's going to hit the ground running, especially he laid down his expectations. So the team definitely got the message, and I think everybody's going to buy into his plan.
BJ, Damone Clark was robbed today, bro.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes, sir. Absolutely.
That was crazy. What was the reaction from the team? It's crazy, bro. When you look at the numbers side by side, it makes
robbery.
It makes zero sense. It makes zero sense.
The whole team knows it. Me, I thought it was a no-brainer. Especially his stats he had, the way he played week after week for 12 weeks straight. There was no drop-off. So, but I guess the committee decided it's something else. But everybody else knows. Everybody knows the true winner, and that's that. The film speaks for itself, and hopefully NFL scouts see that.
BJ, what do you think the difference was in the defense from year to year? Because obviously you see like the fan fodder where people are like they almost wanted Damone benched, and then you come back and it seems like this year he should have led the Buckeyes. He should have been the best defensive player in the country, or at least the best linebacker in the country. So, do you know anything of what changed that kind of allowed him to free him up a little bit?
I think just being more comfortable in his role. Coach Baker, he does an amazing job too. Yeah. I know Damone and Coach Baker, they had an amazing relationship. And, just with breaking down film, maybe just a different way learning or just reading the plays. I know Damone, he told me, like, he was in the film room crazy. Almost him and Micah, they almost knew what play was coming almost every time just by the formation. So, I know their film study was amped up this year, and their understanding of the game, the linebacker position. So I just think Coach Blake did a great job in developing them more.
What does Coach Moffitt mean to you?
Oh, Coach Moffitt, I have a lot of respect for Coach Moffitt coming in. He really transformed my body to get ready to play at the next level. Especially going through all his programs, the quarter program, the summer program. He definitely gets you ready to compete at a high level. So, when we heard they got rid of him, it was kind of sad. Especially you see those guys more than you even see your position coaches. So, you have a relationship with those guys and those group of men. So it's going to be hard adjusting to the new weight training staff. But whoever coach brings in, we're still going to have to buy in. I know they're going to be a great weight training coach, and he's definitely going to get the job done.
What did you make of yesterday's SEC championship game?
It was definitely shocking to me the way Georgia performed, obviously, but you can never leave Alabama out of the picture, especially with Nick Saban, Adam Anderson, Bryce Young. You can't leave him out of the picture at all. So it was definitely a great game. Hopefully you can see a rematch in the national championship with those two teams, and just hope for the best. It was great. It was a great game played by the Alabama offense, O-line, and definitely going to be able to, next time Georgia plays, definitely going to be able to make adjustments and stuff like that the next time they play.
Do you know anything about Kansas State?
Not of right now. Yeah. I know they have a good running back, Deuce Vaughn. I've been seeing him throughout the year, but that's about it. Yeah.
Great to talk to you as always, bro. We'll talk to you next Sunday night. Have a great week in academics and school, and we'll talk again soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You got it, man. There is BJ Ojulari checking in. Remember, our Sunday night broadcasts are brought to you by the Law Offices of Lance Beal. LawOfficeOfLanceBeal.com is where you can find him online. He's down in Acadiana with professional legal representation on any personal injury, small claims, business, divorce. He can help you out. Get in touch with Lance Beal, Law Office of LanceBeal.com. As it was great to catch up with BJ Ojulari and Mickey Joseph here on a Sunday night, as both of them very insightful, very open and honest. We appreciate that very, very much for both of them. We appreciate you if you could help us out by hitting that like button, that share button, that comment button, as we appreciate that for what that can help us out, getting us in front of more eyeballs here.
From Lloyd's last day.
Yes. As Lloyd is producing his last show here on the Jordy Culotta show.
Really nailed the dismount moving into a new office.
Dwayne official says Jordy and Lloyd should officially hug it out on camera.
I wish we could get that mad at each other. Like, I think it's not that big a deal.
No, it's not. It's not. Who was in here talking about somebody? It was funny. There was more comments about Jordy and Lloyd fighting and
lovers quarrel.
Jeb Whitley, when Jordy and Lloyd fight, it makes me uncomfortable. I love it. Jeb Whitley, I just want them both to be happy.
I am.
Yeah, we're all good, man. We're all good. Just a little bit of behind the scenes of what goes on here in podcasting.
Made, bro.
Sometimes the sausage gets made. Sometimes
you should see the things that don't get caught on camera.
That's right. Even better. But I love you, buddy.
Oh, bro. I mean,
just tighten the fuck up, man.
Do your job.
Jesus.
Just do your job. Steve Belichick, Bill Belichick over here.
Time I gotta fuck with you, man.
Oh, it must be nice to come to New Orleans and just roll in. Hope everything works.
New Orleans was great. It is, and I expect it to be fucking worth it next time.
Yeah, it'd be nice a key.
Yeah, I'm tired of the fucking excuses. You don't have your key.
I gave my key to the other guy.
Yeah. Well, y'all figure it the fuck out, bro. Let me tell you that.
I will say, I don't feel like it's my fault.
Get out of here.
I'll wear it.
Get outta
I'll
here.
take the punch, but I don't want to get hit anymore.
Music is back. People said that was freaking
Let's
people
go.
out.
Oh, is it too loud?
I don't know. I'm not saying
Can't
that yet.
be.
No, we're all good, man. We're all good. Tulane was great. Tulane Stadium last night was great. We were at Ullman for the state championship game between Catholic High and Jesuit, which was a really phenomenal football game. Went down to the end, last possession. Jesuit on their opening drive snaps the ball over the punter's head.
Oh, no.
That turns out to be a score for Catholic High, and Catholic High wins by 6. I mean, they needed every single bit of it.
Oh, you mean Gala?
Yeah.
Goodness.
A lot of them there, bro. I mean, like the elites of the elitists.
Did you see?
We're at the Catholic High Jesuit game.
A lot of
last
cur
night.
dogs out there.
And New Orleans.
Just a lot of
I
cur
mean,
dogs.
like the Catholic High edition of New Orleans is Jesuit. You know what I mean? So you put those two all-boy Catholic schools
That J
in
looks
one
a lot like an L if
setting.
you would have flipped it.
I mean, it is. It was a scene last night, but a perfect stadium and a perfect setting for something like that, where Ullman sits 30,000, and I would imagine that they probably had 15 to 20 there last night because the entire lower bowl was filled. The only thing that wasn't filled was the top deck, which didn't look like it was open.
20.
I mean, I would guess that if it sits,
I mean-
if it sits 30,
Right.
I'm guessing that 10 go in the upper part, and I'm telling you, the entire lower bowl was full. Both Catholic High side and Jesuit side, and in the end zones. Now, they did have band and
Why don't
cheerleaders.
Superdome?
I believe, and I don't know this for fact, somebody help me out on this. But I think
Save
that
my job.
the public and the private, when they
Yeah, they
split, the
split.
private does their own state championships. They like split the gate, they making money. You know what I mean? Like,
That's good money.
and let me
yeah.
tell you, if they're splitting the gate last night on, I believe it was $12 a ticket. You know, I mean,
Concessions.
let's conservatively say 15, 12 are there.
What's the most you've
It was
seen?
great.
What's the most you've seen at a high school?
I saw
football
West
game?
Monroe and Evangel play in 2000.
They could have played in a parking lot.
Was
Yeah.
that Brock Berlin and that crew playing that West Monroe team in the Dome, and I want to say that the Dome had 50,000 there, 40,000 people. I mean, both sides were packed. It was loud. It was a great environment. The Zachary West Monroe game where Chris Hilton busted that
Freshman?
I believe he was a
Sophomore.
sophomore wide receiver, where he busted the game winner.
Last pass he caught.
It was elbows and asses. I mean, it was packed there. Jordan Peck, music goes till 11.
Too
I was
loud?
saying, yeah, crank that thing off.
Damn, I don't know what the deal is because I like a little underbelly of it.
Yeah,
You know, it
it's
kind of
just
sets
not
the
under.
tenor of the evening.
It's just not under anymore, I
I
guess.
know. I don't know what the hell is going on. Let's see if this does it.
Figure it out.
This is not my purview, my brother.
So good stuff tonight. We appreciate you being out there. A lot of stuff to get to, as we said. People that are hating on Joe Brady coming back to LSU. Where is that? Where does that come from? Just
How did
because
the
of
tenor
his-
change so quickly?
Just
Yeah.
because of his failures with Sam Darnold and
Teddy
Christian
Bridgewater
McCaffrey never
and
being.
Cam Newton, and you have no Christian McCaffrey.
I
Right.
don't
They
understand.
stunk before.
the Brady hate, like as a possibility. Now, what I've always said, that was a pretty ringing endorsement by Mickey Joseph as Joe Brady, the recruiter. If you want to go back and check out that sound, you should do that. It was pretty good to hear Mickey Joseph talk about Joe Brady in that role as a recruiter, something that we always thought that he was not into. Something that always kind of jumped off of something that would prohibit him from being a real player at a college job. Forget an OC, like as a head coach. But Mickey Joseph said and had some pretty good things to say about Joe Brady, the recruiter, and said that Brady doesn't even know how good of a recruiter he is. So, the possibility, and with the NFL stench of being released and fired within the season, I don't know if somebody jumps on you as quick as the college game would.
Yeah.
I mean, if Brady said, I'm open for business on both the college and NFL level, he'd be hired by midnight. And probably would be like Alabama.
Yeah.
Or Florida with
Well, that's
Napier, or Brent Venables just got the job at Oklahoma, which we'll talk about in a little bit. I mean, I'm sure Scott Frost at Nebraska, I mean, would call him. He would be hired. What time is it right now? It's 8:35 Central Time. He'd be hired by 9 o'clock Central Time if he said, I'm open for college.
That's the part that concerns me is I don't want to see him at Bama or at Florida. I don't want to see him somewhere else.
Did Oklahoma's going Venables, right?
Yeah. They were going to
But there are jobs open to where he could get a college head coaching job. But if you're an LSU fan, do you think you don't want Joe Brady back as offensive coordinator? Like, imagine this happened retroactively a week ago, and LSU's job was still open. He gets fired before that. People would be clamoring to have him as the LSU head football coach, right?
Agreed.
Like, wouldn't he be the first name on the board?
Joe Brady?
I mean,
If he had gotten fired a week ago,
yes.
People were calling
he would
for
be
it
the first
whole
name that
time.
people wanted. And now it seems like the fire has been put out on him for some reason. And like you said, dude, he's been working with Teddy Bridgewater,
Right.
Sam Darnold, who says, I see ghosts,
Cam Newton,
who's back and not back, and no Christian McCaffrey ever. Like, he never got to use the full extensiveness of his weapons in Carolina.
Look at the quarterbacks he would be coming back to. With Max Johnson, Garrett Nussmeier, Walker Howard.
And the wide receivers.
He would pick Walker first, right? Like, he
absolutely.
could just,
Without a doubt.
like,
Yes.
let's just do this together.
Yes.
You're more Joe than anybody.
He's looking for
Burrow.
he wants well, and look, man, he's not out there. He's the white whale, but I'm just talking about from an athletic, arm strength, brains, the full package. He probably checks more boxes than any of them. Mark Vaughn, anyone can go after and have Brady. Why, Mark?
I don't think so. Like, what is this?
Why? I mean, why would you have that outlook from an LSU fan? You wouldn't clamor to have him back knowing how organized his offense was more than anything. And look, I give Burrow a ton of credit for 2019. I think that Burrow deserves a ton of credit. But just look at the offensive efficiency from 2018 when you still had Burrow. And Burrow from the Georgia game one, his junior season, was one of the best quarterbacks in college football. He really was. Week in, week out. The numbers said it. His production, his impact on the game. I mean, he was definitely a dominant player in 2018 from the Georgia game on. But when Brady got there, he was a rocket ship, right? I mean, because of just the concepts, the organization, the route tree, everything that went into that 2019 offense. I think that as much as Joe Burrow deserves a ton of credit, and I think he deserves probably the majority of it, to me, Joe Brady is a great example of why coaching matters. Like, you can look at 2018 and look at 2019 and say you really have a lot of the same players. You got Jamar Chase as a youngster on that team. Terrace Marshall is a youngster on that team. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a veteran on that team. I mean, you've got guys on that team. Justin Jefferson was on that team. Joe Burrow was on that team. When you look at that 2018 squad, then you look at the 2019 offensive efficiency and you say, wow, I mean, what's the overriding difference there? And you say, well, look, Burrow took the next step. He really matured physically in the offseason. He really got it right. But also they hired a offensive genius, or at least kind of like like an up-and-coming offensive mind in Joe Brady that really organized the offense. And I thought that Brady was always a good testament for what coaching means and why it matters in all sports. Because, they're not going to go out there and throw the passes for you, but behind the scenes, they can really break things down and show you, look, if they do this, if the defense does something like this, well, then we're going to react and do that. And this is going to be open because of this. And it just was this wonderland of football with Joe Burrow as the main character and Joe Brady playing the top and lead supporting cast member. And I think that Brady, people bailing on Brady is nuts.
Unbelievable.
It's nuts.
Would you not?
It is wild.
Would you not take him here in a heartbeat if you said that, oh, the LSU OC job is open, which it is, and if you said Joe Brady was, like, I'll even go back a week ago, like you said, just because he got fired, it makes it seem like people are off of him now. Like, okay, yeah, things didn't work out. He never had his full deck to play with.
Yeah,
like,
no,
he never had all 52 cards.
I'm not judging the NFL book on Brady just yet. It's so unfair. No Sam Darnold. No Christian McCaffrey, Teddy Bridgewater.
The question remains, Cincinnati. would that not be the perfect fit for him to go be the OC there?
Does Zach Taylor want to do that? I mean, does Zach Taylor
create that kind of dynamic?
Right.
I mean, it works though. I mean, you've
it could.
seen it.
It could. I mean, I definitely
if he
think
doesn't
it's
want to go back
something
to
that they have to
college,
be playing or talking about.
Right. If Joe Brady wants nothing to do with college football, which I mean, you heard Mickey Joseph say he is a good recruiter, but he doesn't like the idea of recruiting where I'm not working on football, and you can see that in the way that he kind of portrays himself. He's a nerd. He's a football nerd that played football, and he understands. He's a chess player as opposed to a checkers player, right? And so if you could get him back in the college mold where it seems like now he's on the outs. Right. If an NFL team doesn't want him to be a coordinator, that would be his first choice, right? He would like to go be a coordinator again. I would imagine Cincinnati would probably pick up the phone because Joe Burrow will put that thing in perspective and be like, look, we got Joe, we got Jamar. Thad Moss is still lingering around here somehow. Like, that would be a Joe Brady fit. Yeah. But if none of those calls come, LSU seems like a very viable landing spot.
Well, don't think that Alabama and Nick Saban won't be in that line too. If you recall, Joe Brady's first public appearance after he was hired by Carolina was that he was set to speak and address the Alabama coaches clinic and football camp that was happening on campus. Now, this was COVIDed out.
Thank God.
It was canceled because of COVID. But the first call that Saban made was to get Matt Rule, was kind of like the key speaker, but the keynote speaker was Joe Brady behind the scenes. And I think that Saban would love nothing more than just to just to collect. I mean, it was kind of like what he did. It's kind of like what he did with Major Applewhite a couple of years back, if you remember, where there was a real big bidding war on Major Applewhite once he was released from Houston for a couple of offensive coordinator gigs. And some schools like LSU, Alabama, Georgia, Florida were trying to make him an analyst who could pay him that type of analytical money. And Saban had no use for him. He had no reason to go out there and hire him, but everybody else wanted him, so he goes to a couple of boosters, and this is the type of swing that Saban has in Tuscaloosa. The same type with people, Scott Woodward at LSU has this type of swing where you can say, hey, look, we want to get something done, and at the time LSU had Joe Oliva in power, which nobody wanted to help. But, Woodward could go to them and say, hey, look, we need to pay Major Applewhite $150,000 off the books. Like LSU is going to pay him $30,000 to get him health insurance and the 401k and all of the things and the advantages that come with being a state employee. But he's not coming here for $30,000, right? Like, we need to get $150,000 to $200,000 raised annually that we can pay him, kind of away from LSU.
Brian Kelly contract-wise.
Exactly. And
off the books money that
Saban just made that happen. He'll do that with Joe Brady. If nobody has any use for him and nobody wants to step out there and make him, an OC, then Joe Brady would have no problem being paid and compensated very well to be the lead offensive analyst for Alabama. And as soon as Bill O'Brien is out, he's just the next in line of Sark, O'Brien, who are analyzers and become OCs.
There's no way that happens, right? If you're LSU, you don't let him get if Joe Brady's willing to come back to college. And I've realized this conversation is something that we've poo-pooed on for a long time because Joe Brady's not coming back to college. He doesn't like to recruit. Then you heard what Mickey Joseph said. He doesn't like to do it, but he's not bad at it, which isn't shocking. But there's no way if there's people that are able to take swings at Joe Brady that he ends up at Alabama. Would LSU just not throw the book at him? You can kind of name your number here because of the fanfare you have attached to you at LSU. And we're really, this has only happened in 24 hours where people don't really like you now. So I would imagine that LSU might have to overpay, but he's not going to go anywhere as an analyst. He would go there and be an offensive coordinator in college football immediately, right?
Let's see what the market says. Let's see what the market says. Who says he wants to go out to Lincoln, Nebraska, and be an OC there compared to being an on the analyst staff at Alabama? Compared, if they're offering the wide receivers coach, I agree, but I don't think that it's out of the question. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I don't think that, the stench is definitely hovering on him a little bit as far as this experience over the last 2 years in Carolina. Does that hinder him professionally? Does that hinder him in the NFL?
I feel like he's not even the guy that farted in the room. He's the guy that sat in the couch cushion that had fart on it. And it's like, oh, that guy farted, and he didn't. Like, Carolina was not built to succeed if you don't have Christian McCaffrey.
Well, this is what's crazy to me is when we hired Jake Peets, everybody was ecstatic.
Yeah, that he was a Joe Brady clone.
Joe Brady clone.
Yeah.
But now we have the chance at Joe
Brady, actually.
And they're like, oh, no.
Don't want him now.
I can't imagine that there is a majority of that. That's got to be a loud.
Overreaction.
That's got to be a loud minority. That is. I mean, because, come on. I mean, come on. I mean, Joe Brady to me was the great example of why coaching matters. I mean, like, that is somebody that you can point at and say, okay, that guy makes a difference.
It is the biggest transition in LSU football history from what happened in 2018 to what happened in 2019. Like, you can say Joe Burrow took that step forward, obviously, but the implementing of Joe Brady's offense is what made Joe Burrow excel, right? Because you saw, dude, go back to the 2018 LSU-Alabama game at LSU. They didn't score a point. Like, that thing did not look like an Insminger offense or an Insminger Joe Brady offense.
Yeah.
That was an absolute, this is what we do every time we play Alabama. Let's do it this way and see if it works. Joe Brady had 0 seconds to breathe. Fast forward to 2019 with Joe Burrow and Joe Brady, and look at the difference it made. Like, Joe Brady makes a difference.
Yeah,
like, don't be.
I agree.
I can't believe that there's this much fodder out there of him being
I know.
subpar coach whenever you would have taken him as a head coach a week ago.
It is wild.
Brian does make a good point in the bunker saying, just talking about if Kelly would hire him, because I think that does play a factor. Like, if Kelly would go to make that hire, because I mean he's been coaching for so long, he has his guys.
But he missed on his guy.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he missed on
one of them, but I mean he has a couple. So,
does he? Like,
what?
Well, he has a former OC that's at Tulane. So I mean, but there's different guys out there.
But Joe Brady would be the first name on your board now that he's fired, right? Like, every college is looking at him to be at least gauge interest.
I think he's definitely got to be at the top of the list.
Because I don't know if he gets an NFL job if it's not Cincinnati. Like, Joe Burrow's gonna have to go bang on the table.
I don't. I mean, I wonder like what people like Sean McVay thinking about Joe Brady.
But that's analyst role, right?
I don't know if it's an analyst role. You can bring him in easily and let him be the wide receivers coach and just have him in the room to break down plays and tell me what you see.
So do you think he got too much too fast?
Possibly. I mean, there is a Tyrus Thomas feel to this where you think, man, another year of college and you would have been incredibly just more mature and ready for that next obstacle, ready for that next job. And I don't know if, Joe Brady, but, I mean, you knew Brady's aspirations the day he got the gig. He came from the New Orleans Saints. He was a professional football guy. And even though Mickey Joseph, like we said, gave a ringing endorsement for Brady as far as a recruiter, and his endorsement really was kind of saying, Brady doesn't know how good of a recruiter he is. And I think it's because Brady hates recruiting, right? Because he despises it and doesn't want to embrace it. But his personality is so likable, and where you sit down and you talk football with him, and if you're a football player, you're like, holy shit. I mean, this guy is a wizard. And he doesn't even really know he's recruiting you. You know what I mean? Like, he's just showing you how much love he's got for football and how smart he is in breaking it down. And you're like, I got to come play for this guy.
I'm going to be open every play.
Yeah. Right. Or if I'm not open, he's going to be open.
Well, look what he did to Jamar Chase. Like, look at the difference between 2018 Jamar and 2019 Jamar.
Yeah.
I mean,
Justin Jefferson.
All of it.
Yeah.
He made the whole thing explode. And I don't know where he is mentally and where he wants to, come back to, because, as you've said, he doesn't like recruiting. That's been our whole standpoint, because when we went through this coaching search, how many people asked for Joe Brady to be the LSU head football coach? Everyone.
Everybody.
If he would have been an option, that would have been the resounding yes. Yeah. And now it's that people have fallen off the table a little bit. But look at what he did to LSU and how he transformed it. And if you could get him back as OC, that would be a massive windfall for LSU to get Brian Kelly, Joe Brady,
right.
And then you have kind of like the wheels start turning in motion, because what's the biggest question around Brian Kelly right now? How are you going to do your staff?
Yeah.
Because the walls are starting to get a little bit tighter every now and every day.
Well, the time is crunching.
The time is crunching because you got to recruit.
Yeah. Don't forget our friend Lance Beal, Law Offices of Lance Beal. He helps us out. He brings you our Sunday night broadcast each and every Sunday night. Check him out online at lawofficeoflancebeal.com. Lawofficeoflancebeal.com is where you find them online. So those are some of the storylines that we've been chomping on here this Sunday. We appreciate Mickey Joseph. We appreciate
Lloyd.
Yeah, Lloyd. Dumbass.
Sunday nights are hard, dude.
Dumbass Lloyd, bro. Jesus.
I'd love to play music right now.
And BJ Ojulari for stopping by here. Top 4 were named: Georgia, Alabama, Michigan, Cincinnati. Top 4.
Georgia goes to 1?
No, Georgia.
No, I'm sorry. It's Alabama and Cincinnati.
Georgia and Michigan played.
So Alabama
And
stays 1.
Georgia, Michigan.
Alabama's 1. Michigan, Georgia. Cincinnati.
I mean, they just stack the thing to make sure they don't play again back to back.
Yeah.
If you're Georgia,
Well, you're a nervous wreck.
you feel
You're a
it's
nervous
the
wreck.
worst thing that could have happened.
It feels very LSU 2011.
Uh-huh.
Kind of like that.
And it's Oklahoma State again.
We can't do this. Yes,
And
it
it's
was,
the same
yeah, it
team.
Was. It was Oklahoma State.
Was it Iowa State they played?
It was Iowa State. They played them on a Friday night.
I remember I was at Fred's.
They played them on a Friday night. Which,
people-
by the way,
people
Baylor
cele-
and Dave Aranda, that defense is legit.
Oh, yeah.
How about this stat? Oklahoma State took 17 snaps within the 10-yard line and came away with 0 points. Bro,
That's crazy.
That is a defense.
Is there-
That is a stout defense. Think about that out loud. 17 snaps inside the 10-yard line
That's unbelievable.
and come away with was it 0 points or 0 touchdowns?
0
I don't know
touchdowns. They
if- I don't
kicked
think it
a
was-
field
yeah.
goal.
Did they kick one field? I think it was.
But I think, dude, you could even go even farther than say inside the 5,
Yeah.
0 points. 8
Yeah.
plays inside
Yeah.
the 5, 0 points. Apu Ika. What was
an
LSU?
animal.
How did
What do
you
you
get him
mean?
away?
That's been the
the
issue.
4-3 change.
That's
What's
been
the
the
point?
issue. That's been the issue, man.
He's a monster.
He is.
He was unblockable.
He was
looked like
bullying.
Indomitian
Bullying.
Sue.
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody look like Sue has, like where you just were like, oh my God, there's nothing you can do to stop this
Vita
guy.
Vey.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like he's picking people up. You
For
know what I
fun.
mean? Just kind of like running
out
with
of the
them.
way.
Ika had that feeling for like
Yeah.
2 or 3 series stretch where you were like, they can't do anything about him. They can't stop him.
But it doesn't that kind of speak a testament to what Dave Aranda did? It's like,
Yeah.
I'm bringing Apu with me. Like, this
Yeah,
guy is
absolutely.
a game wrecker.
Absolutely.
And the LSU changed to the 4-3, which obviously it feels like Durante Jones got away from a little
Yeah.
bit. Like, what are you doing? You recruited this thing for 8 years this way, and you just want to change the defense? Like, it makes no sense to me what they did, because when you see Apu Ika and Baylor, what were they last year? 2-9?
2 and
Well, no, they played the 10-game schedule because of COVID, but I mean,
2-8?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was
And
not
then
good.
2 wins.
It wasn't that good.
And then Aranda flips it around, and they're the Big 12 champions.
Champions.
And it couldn't have worked out any better for him to be a goal line stand twice.
I know.
And it's like, well, Dave Aranda's
You went on defense.
And he didn't even flinch.
He
He,
didn't
was
even
just
flinch.
watching
I
the
know.
game. He was
I
like,
know.
That was that's
Because it's
crazy.
almost like he's so prepared and he expects
He knew
that
that was gonna
outcome to be there that he made himself so much money this season. It's scary to think about. I mean, the Dave Aranda
makes
stock
LSU
right
feel
now
like we swung and missed.
on Kelly.
I mean, it just feels like a lot of people would want Aranda right now after that. I mean, that's an unbelievable turnaround. Like,
See, to me,
I don't think Barry
to me, the
the
LSU job, after it's all played out, is that you allow Brian Kelly
5
because
years.
it looks like this thing with Kelly.
ain't going 10.
It's not going 10.
no.
And if Dave Aranda is the truth, which
It's
in
him.
year 2 it looks like he's the truth, in 5 years,
You go get him again.
I mean, it's non-debatable that the LSU job compared to just about every job in the country does not hold weight. What is it? The 5th best? It's a top 5 job. It's a top 5 job in college football. When it's right, when you get the right guy and you have the people around
It's been a
you
top 5 job without the right people.
that are
Yeah.
aligned. Sure. And that's kind of that's the progression of the gig to me.
Because I agree. I think you kind of set yourself up for success with Brian Kelly as being there's no way he stays 10 years. That would be unbelievable.
Right.
He'd have to win a couple of natties
Yeah.
to where you'd want him to stay. And the way that they backloaded that contract, it makes it seem like you could kind of cut and run. You don't have to pay him that money anymore. But it sets you up for a Billy Napier who won his bowl game in resounding fashion.
Yeah, which you
Still-
knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, but they still couldn't fill up the stadium. Shocker.
Little brother.
So yeah, so you see, but you still that sets you up for a Billy Napier possibly, Dave Aranda possibly, because you think this is a 5-year deal in my mind, right? And so all of these coaches are going to be kind of lurking around for another job by the time Brian Kelly gets LSU kind of righted and in the right direction and it's stable, where people are going to be looking at it like, I will take that job and look at it much more seriously than it was looked at this year.
Yeah. Dravon Rhodes says, give me the top 5 jobs in college football. All right, let's see. I would say that
music segment.
It would be a great music segment. What's the problem with the music?
I have no clue.
So why are people? Is it too loud?
It's too loud.
It
It's
overdoes us.
overtaking your voice.
Even if you pot it all the way
so
down,
low.
because it's quiet. It's quiet for us.
Okay.
Right. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So
That's
Bama's
okay.
won.
I would disagree.
I disagree there. I think Bama has the right guy. If Alabama has the right guy, I think it is the best job because they have the right resources. They know how to, Saban knows how to politically kind of navigate through all the stuff. Did we tell the Saban story about the Paul Bear Bryant stuff on the air? Or we tell that off the air about how he decoded the card for Paul Bear Bryant after his first year.
I haven't heard
that. So this is a great story from an insider at Alabama that we heard over the weekend because we were talking about job turnover in college football and just how sometimes when you keep the wrong people around, it doesn't matter who you bring in, regime to regime, that they can't make it. And the story with Saban goes is that Paul Bear Bryant Jr. has always had full access to the Alabama football program, kind of carte blanche, right? Like got the best suite, he got the best parking spot, he got access to the football program 24 hours a day. Would come in there, grab gear for his friends, would sit down there,
and he's
drink
no coach,
coffee.
nothing?
Didn't do shit.
What a hero! What a legend!
Dick. Except for win the genetics lottery, and his grandfather is Paul Bear Bryant, right?
And I got the junior.
No, I'm sorry. This is son. This is his son.
Yeah,
this is his son. And so, like the first year on the gig, he's like showing up and like drinking coffee with Saban. You know what I mean? Like sitting in Saban's office, like knocking.
I'm more important than you are.
Double knocking and like walking in and sitting down and like asking Saban like, "What's the deal for the day?" And finally, Saban gets to a point where he goes to Mal Moore and says, "Mal, I'm just telling you, man, if you don't get rid of the this list of people, I'm fucking done. I'm out. Like I'm leaving now." And Mal said, "Do what you got to do." And he said, "I'm cutting off all of their access. That's what I'm doing." He said, I'm like debunking them from the program. You understand? Like they take his parking pass, all of the bullshit, like the key, all of that stuff. No more gear, no more, like, hey, Coach Saban, meet my kid's best friend. Like none of that stuff.
He wants to run a couple of drills.
And, like that was, like since that day, like Saban's like, it's been Nick Saban's program. Like it's been his gig because he had all these these people that were hanging on around him.
Wait, where do you put Bear Bryant Jr. on the list? Is he one? Or is he like, do you kind of bury him towards the bottom, like, all right, we got to get rid of this guy too?
No, he would be number one.
Like, this is the problem.
Yeah, he was the issue.
But
he was the issue.
So then you have to throw a couple other names on there just to make sure it's not only
his
him.
Cronies, you know what I mean, that have now become entitled because we hang out with Junior. You know what I mean? Like,
because Junior's inviting everybody.
I'm with Junior. You know what I mean? What do you mean? Like, you cut me off. I mean, I've been coming for a decade now.
Fellas, this is not how we do it.
Like, Mike Shula let us bring the donuts every Wednesday. So I would disagree on the Alabama job being one. To me, I'm serious. I think the Georgia job is one. I really do. I mean, if you look at recruiting the state of Georgia, first off, they produce as many athletes as Louisiana does, maybe more. You know what I mean? I'm talking about like Cam Newton, Arik Gilbert, cats like that. I mean, like cats that are different football players. But you also have access to Florida. You've got access to that kind of northern Alabama, Georgia, Florida triangle right there, which produces a lot of players. I mean, Zamir White's from North Carolina, isn't he? I mean, he's going up into that area and getting players. I mean, Tennessee's success, when Tennessee was Tennessee in the late 90s, they were crushing Georgia for recruits. That's what they were going into Georgia and getting all those. I really do think that Georgia is probably, I mean, look how fast Kirby Smart is like in the game. You know what I mean? Like I know that he may not.
How long has he been there?
This is his fifth year. He's on the same Ojulari trajectory, and he's going to be in the national championship twice.
And you say, okay, yeah, so he's played close for national championships, obviously 5 years. Orgeron run it in 3. So would that not be like a?
He was in it in his first.
Right, but didn't win. Like obviously that's what you want to do. But Georgia is set up to succeed because I mean, Jesus Christ, go to the campus It looks insane. We got kids jumping train tracks to try to get to Tigerland in Baton Rouge and not making it.
Right.
Like the scene in Baton Rouge just pales in comparison to what Athens, Georgia looks like. But it goes to show how quickly you can win at LSU, despite of who you are. Because all three coaches did it within 3 years or 4 years.
All three in 3 years. So I would have Georgia up there. I think that
USC.
Texas. I think that Texas is a top job when it is right, when you've got the right person. I mean, I'm just talking about resources.
Yeah. Right.
What my credentials are for the top job, and I think this is debatable, but I think that it's going to be the usual suspects, right? I mean, it's going to be a lot of the same names that we talk about within the highest order of college football. But recruiting ground, resources, support, facilities, budget, stuff that we can get, nutrition centers, all that stuff. The money, but even like the support, because I think that especially now that it's legal, when you can pick up the phone and at the University of Texas, you can say, hey, look, I want to get this quarterback Arch Manning out of New Orleans, and it's going to take, $500,000 a year in a recruiting pitch that we need to put together to really make
a business plan,
really get him. And there's 25 guys at Texas, 25 business people at Texas that would walk to Steve Sarkisian's office from their office and say, hey, here's the cash. Here's however I can help to get that done. So I think that Georgia, Texas, Southern California, USC is one of the top jobs. When you just talk about nobody out there to compete for with players, or at least when they were doing it, they weren't competing with anybody on the West Coast. Whoever they wanted on the West Coast, they got their pick of the litter of. And now, I know that Chip Kelly came into Oregon kind of late in that process and started to take away some player. Who was it? Kenyon Barner, who they really wanted out of Los Angeles, out of Compton, that he came and got. But, for the most part, they got everybody that they wanted in their heyday.
But still compare the job. Like, do you want to go to Oregon or USC? Like, if USC is somewhat right, Lincoln Riley's going to have that thing on fire.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, there's no chance that that fails.
Have you seen some of the stuff going on with Riley? Some of the personal stuff that he's caught up in Lincoln? Like some of the stuff that could be coming down the pipe on him?
The recruiting stuff? Or
No,
something
bro.
different?
A lot of personal stuff.
Yeah.
Like he's got some bullshit that's smoking out of Lincoln right now that if it pops, which it could pop in the next couple of weeks, it is going to be scandalous.
Is it the brisket?
It's not the brisket.
No. It is all types of just off the field employees within the football program. I mean, cell phones, university cell phones. It is
interesting.
It is juicy, bro. It is juicy. I mean,
and guess who's been catching all the smoke?
LSU.
Brian Kelly,
right?
For making
For
a
a
couple
fake
kids
accent.
shovel some snow and a little extra A in family.
All right. So who is it? Simplify saying, tell us. Let me finish this this list. Let me finish this list. So I've got Georgia. I've got Texas. I've got USC. I think Ohio State is a top 5 job.
They're in my 5.
I think that when you just kind of look perennially year in, year out, and I think LSU is in there.
I would agree.
I really do. I really, and I'm probably biased because I think that you could probably put Florida or Miami or Florida State, one of the Florida schools, in there just because of what we were talking about criteria.
It depends on how you look at it, right?
And Miami would be etched off because you don't have the support.
Yeah.
Right? Like you do have a great alumni, but you don't have like the stuff that goes into being the top tier but you got the recruiting ground. You know what I mean? Like you got the backdrop, you got all of that stuff, but you don't check every box. Florida, University of Florida. I mean, Florida's just building an indoor arena, an indoor practice facility. Like they're just getting that done. Now, with the facilities, with the support, with the money, all that stuff, maybe Florida is a top 5. But I think that LSU and Florida kind of feel the same. You know what I mean?
LSU is above that.
Okay, that's fine.
Above.
That's
I
fine.
agree.
But I do believe if LSU's not 5, they're 6. And if we're picking between 5 and 6, I mean, we're just kind of picking nits. You know what I mean? Like we're just nitpicking here. So I mean, if you want to take LSU, if I take LSU, you take Florida. That's fine.
We're both good.
Right, we're both good. But I think that somewhere in that collection of teams, those are top. I don't think that Clemson's a top 5 job. I think they got the right guy. I don't think that Alabama's a top 5 job. I think they got the right guy. I don't think that Tennessee's a top 5 guy. It seems like they might have the right guy, Josh Heupel.
Yeah.
Seems like he's kind of getting things going in the right direction.
Of smoke, apparently him and Oklahoma are not on good terms.
Well, they must not be, because for him to do
should
what he's
run
doing
there.
at Tennessee, that should have been a very easy, just kind of hand off to him as far as the job goes. They end up hiring Brent Venables, and he's got too much Clemson in him now. I don't think that's going to work at all. Like that play in the SEC in Norman, Oklahoma, with that personality, good luck.
Well,
Oklahoma's a spot I was nervous about with Joe Brady. Like I feel like they'd go.
That would have been a
all
nice
in.
one.
They'd go all in for him.
That'd have been a nice one.
Because if you have to transition from Lincoln Riley offense, I don't know what he's done, but I can't wait to find it out. But if you transition from that kind of offense where you're scoring 40, 50 a game to Brent Venables' defense as your calling card, that's going to take 4 or 5 years to get the right guys in place. Like, I understand he's a great defensive coordinator, but he doesn't have the guys that he wants.
Yeah, right.
So it's going to take a total overhaul.
Absolutely.
Like, this is a clean slate almost. Like, we have to. Spencer Rattler's leaving. Caleb Williams is leaving. Like, this is not. This is just me.
Leaving.
This is me. Like, looking into the future. I don't think either one of them stays, and so you have no quarterback. You're bringing in a defensive coordinator to run a team that is offensively built.
Has no
like
defense.
Oklahoma is in a terrible spot.
They're in a bad
right
spot.
now.
They're in a bad spot. And it seems like even like off the field stuff with like LSU was going through, like in like 2007, where they were like cutting budgets and they were cutting.
They don't know who they are.
They were cutting higher education. They were cutting all those types of resources. That seems to be going on in the state right now. So it is a terrible time for Oklahoma to be transitioning into the Southeastern Conference.
Yeah.
I mean, not only have you seen the amount of recruits that have decommitted from them over the last week? Have you seen the amount of people that is transferring out of the program? Then you go hire Brent Venables, and this smoke that's happening with Lincoln Riley off the field at some point is going to have to be a question that is going to be answered. I mean, just Google Lincoln Riley and Oklahoma right now.
Is it that bad?
And
You want to talk about
the
it?
story is popping up. I mean, I just don't want to put gossip and hearsay out
Sunday
onto the
night show.
street. But I mean, it's affairs, it's text messages on university phones, it's
freezing it?
employees. It's not as bad as he wasn't chasing hookers, but I mean, it ain't good, bro.
It's not good.
It is not good, and USC could be caught up in it. I mean, there's supposedly a lawsuit that could be served on Christmas Day to both Southern California and Lincoln Riley for some things that were going on university officially handed out phones that they've now got correspondence. Sure, absolutely. Or not only that, they've got receipts on everything on
That's
this
what I
stuff.
would imagine.
You know what I mean? Like, even if you don't get it back, I mean, we're looking at what you're texting right here, bro. You know what I mean? You and the wifey.
Lincoln, you dog.
Yeah, he's a dog, bro. I mean, or at least allegedly.
Allegedly dog.
Allegedly
I didn't
dog.
think he had that in him.
I didn't either.
It's always the one you don't expect.
No, you outing yourself.
Super fight. Google it. Seriously.
Yeah, just Google
Just
it.
Google it.
Wow.
But
I didn't think he had it in him.
It'll pop up. They all got it in them, bro.
They act like they have so much downtime, but they really don't.
They all got it in them. I mean,
Office has a air mattress in here.
just kind of lost all fucks. You know what I mean? When he got divorced and just said, "I'm gonna show y'all how it really goes on in the coaching world, but I'm just gonna do it as a single guy and not give a damn."
He was the Bachelor.
Right.
On
I'm gonna jog.
ESPN.
He was at the state championship game last night.
Yeah, he
saw
was.
him.
Yeah,
In a sissy blue shirt.
he was in the sissy blue shirt. Him and Brandy sitting field side, rolling out in the Mercedes on the
All
way
right, we
out,
outta here.
Like Pop, driving through everybody's like, look at you.
Do you think he ever does anything again? Like, will he coach again?
I don't know how
It's
you
TV.
would.
It's TV.
Is it TV?
I think he
that's
might
his
be
next-
too spicy for TV.
I think he is too.
Somebody's
I think
gonna
he's
take
too guarded for TV. I think the
We got Luso this year, and it was
best O that you can
riot.
get is probably like
Sissy Blue O.
Yeah, it's Sissy Blue O. And I think that he would be too guarded on that. I think that he would be too nervous that he would walk himself into a trap by things that he would say.
Too nervous. He doesn't understand what a trap is.
That's
That's
the
the problem.
nerve-wracking part.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's the nerve-wracking part.
He's a WWE guy. Him wrestling The Rock in WrestleMania
That'd be amazing.
would be absolutely electric. If you get Coach O lathered up, a little skin shine, versus The Rock, who he recruited,
Right.
and they're both, do you smell what Coach O's cooking? It would be unbelievable.
That would be amazing.
That's his pivot. He'll coach again. No way he goes to Alabama, right?
Dude.
He's not going to Alabama.
It's in his contract. He can't go to Alabama.
Is it really?
Yeah.
So he wanted that money so bad.
Huh?
You could have put anything in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's signing it.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Give me my money.
I'm not going to Alabama.
What is today? December 5th? 10 days from now. December 15th is that $5 million chunk direct deposit.
Oh, that's why he's still going to high school games.
Why?
He needs that $5 million. Then we're going out of town.
Yeah, we just paint the picture.
Right, yeah. Like, we're just talking about what we're going to do.
Community oriented.
Yeah. I could go around. I'm still recruit for LSU. Go Tigers.
That might be the public appearance that he needed.
Yeah.
But once that $5 million hits the bank, he's toast. He's out of town.
Never see him again.
Back to 30A.
It was like Les after 2007. Remember every time you saw him, he had the ring on? Like, bro, we get it, dude. Take it off to eat your cereal, for God's sakes.
Just drinking out of it.
I mean,
because he couldn't believe he had one. That man,
no, he couldn't.
no
Couldn't
chance
believe
to
it.
win a national
No.
championship. Went to 2 of them.
That's why he was so unprepared the first. He was playing with house money. I already got mine. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
I didn't give a damn. Semper Fi. So what
can't believe I
happened?
won the first one.
So what is the truth with did LSU even offer Riley? I don't think so. I mean, people around LSU are pretty steadfast on the fact that look, they were going to go up to Norman, or they may even have taken a flight to Norman.
They were on the
but they
plane.
never landed the plane. They never touched down in Norman. They circled around the airport and got some information that it just wasn't going to happen. There was no viability to it.
If you're a college football coach, good God, you better be on your P's and Q's, cross your T's, and dot your I's.
Well,
because
especially these
everything
days.
gets cut.
Too much money. There's a lot of eyeballs on you. You know what I mean? Things are out there that, I mean, they just about get you for calls within the first month on the job. You know what I mean?
Well,
like
that's how you have to negotiate.
they've always got you by the balls.
LSU might be the one leaking, like, oh, a little
You know
fair
what I
over
mean?
here.
Yeah,
man. That would never come to light if you'd come to Baton Rouge. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. Coach, the story is salacious. I mean, it is. It is everything. It is everything college football you think it is.
How old is he?
38. You know what I mean? Just.
And we were worried about Lane.
Yeah, you're worried about Lane. Meanwhile, Opie Taylor's up in Norman, Oklahoma. Just.
You running through it.
Just. I mean.
I would love to play. Maybe he does want the SEX.
Yeah, he don't want the SEC. I can promise you that.
What? They did that video call on game day, and the crowd starts chanting.
love
Did you
that.
see
It was
that?
amazing.
I love that.
Surprised he didn't hang up the phone.
So, yeah,
That
somebody
was
tweeted,
so
surprised
good.
it didn't hang up, and it was loud. It was our background
was.
music loud.
Echoing.
Echo chamber. This poor guy, he's toast. And he'll win.
Yeah, he will.
Well, I mean, he'll be Lincoln Riley.
He'll get his 10
He'll
wins.
win. He'll get there, get blown out. His defense will look soft. His program will look weak. He'll have good players. He'll win Heisman trophies. He'll put out #1 picks. But
It's
I mean,
perfect for USC.
it's perfect for him.
It's
Yeah.
perfect for USC.
If that's
and
who he,
him, yeah.
if that's who he is, which he's shown really kind of his true colors over the last couple of weeks on, just kind of
Sissy Blue.
the football stuff. I mean, the off the field stuff. I mean, it goes back, bro. It tells you why he missed that interview, that press
He's
conference the
kind
week of
of in
Baylor game.
shambles.
Right now, he is.
Yeah.
Because he's in the middle of it. He's in the teeth of it.
He's not made for this.
And personally, he's going through a shitstorm.
Right, so he doesn't
Like-
want any of this.
No, if this stuff is true of what they're writing about him, I mean,
I
his
love not knowing.
personal life is. I mean, you can put the puzzle pieces together.
Oh, I already know what it
You know what I
is,
mean?
but I
Like-
can't wait to read it.
LSU dodged an enormous bullet. If LSU was serious about hiring Lincoln Riley,
Is that why they
and if
turned the
Lincoln
plane
Riley was
around,
ever
dude?
thinking about coming to LSU and it folded and fell apart, let's say LSU did offer and he passed, or that he wanted the job and LSU didn't offer, either way, LSU, it seems like within the first 3 weeks, has dodged a grenade, a just bullet. And, I mean, I'm not, it's crazy. It just looks wild. I mean, just some of the stuff that are coming out of Norman on Lincoln Riley. And I get that, a lot of the vultures are out and that they want to bury Lincoln Riley for some of the stuff that he did on the way out in Norman. So, I mean, I know that there's a lot of bitter people over there. But it's It just looks like
I love college football.
It's college football.
Unbelievable, dude.
It is college
It's the best
football.
reality show in the world.
It is college football. I mean, it is.
But
primo college football.
Does this Kirby Smart thing that happened last night that you saw, in terms of not being able to win the big one again, give you a little Brian Kelly vibes of maybe, is this what we're getting at LSU, where you can get there, but when we get to the big dance,
who, Brian Kelly?
yes, because
No.
don't they have similar track records, right?
Who, Brian Kelly and Lincoln Riley?
No, Brian Kelly and
Kirby Smart.
Kirby Smart, maybe possibly, but I think that.
But
and
you just
I-
want to get there.
I will agree.
LSU's at the point where you want to get there.
I want to see Brian Kelly do that with an SEC roster. I want to see Brian Kelly get to the NCAA Final Four with an SEC roster. He knows that he is taking a butter knife to a gunfight with Notre Dame's roster. He's got a couple of high-end players. He's got a couple of good players at spots. He doesn't have dogs at every single position that you need to compete against Georgia and Alabama.
Though.
Yeah, they do. But, I mean, what are you talking about?
Except for the quarterback position.
I mean, Georgia was smoked out yesterday.
I know that's what I'm saying, but that's what I'm saying. If you compare Kirby Smart to Brian Kelly, they seem to be very similar coaches, right? And Kirby Smart has a fucking gun at a gunfight, and he still isn't able to win every time he plays up against. When it comes to the wall, he's not able to bust through it. So that's what I'm wondering. It's like, if Brian Kelly going to be able? Is that the comparison right now? Because if you're an LSU fan and you go, okay, we got Brian Kelly, right? So the next possible leap is like, all right, we're going to be in the playoff every year. But are they going to be able to make the next jump? Because that's how you get fired in the SEC.
Well, I think that's what Brian Kelly's coming to here. Not only answer for LSU, he's coming to answer for himself. You know what I mean? I think this is kind of where he is in his football life. That's why I think that LSU and Brian Kelly are the perfect union. Yeah. LSU needs Brian Kelly as much as Brian Kelly needs LSU. Okay. LSU needs to get back on square footing where they're
we just want to go to the playoff.
LSU needs to be disciplined. They need to be competitive. They need to have a clear and cut identity to who the program is. They need to compete for championships at a stable rate. They may not do it this year, but they need to do it for the next 2 years. If they don't do it for the next, they need to do it at a consistent rate. That's what Scott Woodward believes the program to be, and that's what he wants it to be. So LSU needs that. Brian Kelly provides that. Yeah. Everywhere he's been, he's stabilized Central Michigan, Cincinnati, Notre Dame. He's also won there. He's won at consistent rates. He ain't leaving LSU at 60,
I know that.
At 9.5 a year. You know what I mean? But he's coming in here to stabilize it, to bring it to an identity that people can relate to and make it a high option of entertainment value and win. And LSU and Brian Kelly needs LSU because LSU provides him the opportunity to get those types of players, to get Jamar Chase, Terrace Marshall, Keyshawn Butte all at wide receiver. You know what I mean? Like he may have had a Keyshawn or a Terrace or a Jamar on one of his rosters. He didn't have them all three on one roster. No. You know what I mean? Which LSU did 2 springs ago. And that's what he looks at and says, hey, let me go see if I can get in that fight with Saban, Smart, Fisher, and crew with LSU's roster and see if I'm not smarter than those cats. And that's why Kelly needs LSU just like LSU needs Kelly. That's why, to me, it's a perfect union. It's a perfect alignment and marriage. And I don't think it's coincidence that he kept saying alignment, 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 because everything that is he needs to check off, even people 9.5. Yeah, well, yeah, that too. The money made sense for him. He was only making $5 million at Notre Dame. Like Brian Kelly, man, you're an elite coach.
Way more, dude.
You know what I mean? I'm sure Woodward was like, "You're making what?"
He hadn't stepped out the house in 10 years. He had no idea what the market looked like.
Like, bro, you
check the newspaper.
You're a dude. You know what I mean? You demand and have interest. You're one of the elite. We're going to pay you like that. We're going to give you resources like that. LSU is going to provide you a recruiting base that's going to allow you to get top-end play. I mean, all that stuff that you've been missing in your football resume and your football program, you have now.
My question is, if he does what Kirby Smart does, what you said is year 5, and you scratch, but never itch, is that
what, that he gets there,
and never wins.
He gets LSU to 2 college football playoffs in the next 5 years.
Loses the SEC championship, still gets in, but doesn't win. Because that will burn people up in Baton Rouge. If you get there and not win, it'll take 3 years for them to be like, get him out of here.
Look, I think that they would want the win, but I think if LSU is competing for national
Because you want that
championships
now.
twice in the next 5 years, then that's exactly what we were just talking about that LSU's looking for.
Yeah.
They're looking at a consistent rate of winning at a high level. If you get there and lose two, hey, man, those are the gambles you take when you say, I want consistency and I want to get there.
At least you're relevant.
It doesn't mean that you have to get me there and win it every year. It means that you need to get me in the talk. You need to get me in the discussion of a brand that college football is recognized with every single season. When you're talking it, LSU's in the top 5. From 2004 through 2015, LSU was in the top 5 the majority of those conversations. That's where they need to be for the next decade. That's where they need to be in college football's landscape when college football is about to be another. It's about to go to another stratosphere. It's about to go deeper into orbit of entertainment value as far as the SEC is concerned. And LSU needs a heavy hitter. They need an A-lister. They need the dude. And Brian Kelly he's the guy.
Because if you think about it, you could play into the scenario of if the playoff expands, Brian Kelly will get you 8-9 wins, right? Like that's the floor for him almost.
Yeah.
So you're in the playoff every year if it expands. Like you're almost in the playoff. If it does expand, it's still a 4-team playoff. If you can get 10 wins under Brian Kelly at LSU, you're on the outside looking in, or you're in, or at least in the SEC championship conversation. But if you go, 12 teams? Is that the one it expanded to? 16? What's the
16?
16?
Is it 12? No, 12.
12. Even 12.
Yeah.
LSU is in that conversation every year, right? Like that's the point. That's what you're trying to get to
Yes.
with Brian Kelly. That's all
Absolutely.
you're trying to do is get into the playoff.
Absolutely.
And then what I'm saying is when you get to that next spot of like, all right, we're in, it's good, we're a great brand. Now we have to win the thing. But the timeline lines up to where it's going to be he and Nick Saban battling, right? Like it'll be those two going until they retire, and then you're hoping that LSU gets 2 maybe in 5, and then you can transition to the next guy.
Yeah.
But I'm
Stabilize the place.
Stabilize, but I'm interested to see if he doesn't win. It's going to be the Kirby Smart because Georgia's kind of tired of Kirby Smart if he doesn't win one this year.
Well, they've seen the song and dance so long.
Exactly, and the LSU will be in that exact same spot.
They saw Mark Richt do it. LSU is not. Oh my God,
Lloyd.
that is a crackback, huh?
Lloyd.
Good on Cushionberry.
Oh, Cush.
Golly,
Both
Lloyd.
both feet came off the ground.
Lord have mercy.
Didn't do anything.
Damn it, Lloyd. Cushionberry. No, I think that. I think that. Wow. Damn. Lloyd Cushionberry just got upended on a crackback block off of an interception. Tough shot on Lloyd, man. Damn.
Lloyd!
Seriously. Football Scoop just said that Riley hired the lady and her husband from Tulsa to his staff at USC.
No
wow.
way.
No way.
No way.
No way.
Is that the smoke?
There's
no way.
No way.
I'm about to look it up.
Oh my God. If he did that, then all that stuff is just rumors on him. There's no way.
There's no way he can hire her.
He could do that. There's no way he could do that.
Maybe they're in like a little
Possibly
open thing. It's a Christmas movie. Oswald shot.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It is crazy to think that it is a Christmas movie. But I do think that the definition of a Christmas movie is any Christmas lyric.
That's what I wonder.
And they have Christmas songs in it.
I mean, Lincoln Riley's living it.
Now he's down in L.A.
It's 'tis the season.
What's the knock? Sorry. You're looking for the house in Bel Air. You're in Beverly Hills, Lincoln.
Oh, man. Speaking of a sex life. Fresh Prince.
Kirby
Had
Green.
so much sex, he's tired of it. It makes him
Yeah.
throw up.
Wow.
Not there yet. Would love to be there.
Kirby Green, bad block, good call, yes. Mark Vaughn, a thruple, possibly.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Are they all in together?
Jimmy Magoo, Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Non-debatable on this show, Jimmy. It is a Christmas movie.
I don't know if I've seen that all the way through.
Say what?
I feel like that's one of the movies you catch, you know? It's always on TV, but don't know if I've gone out the way to watch it.
Smash the like button for us, please, people. If you're feeling a little dangerous, hit that dislike button. We can't see the numbers.
Can't even get audio on.
Count them out for us. If you do hit a dislike button, at least just give us a tally inside of the chat. So if you hit the dislike button, just like this. Like I just hit the dislike button. Watch this. I'm just gonna hit one.
You disliking yourself?
One dislike.
Anything happen?
No, it just shows it just shows a highlighted dislike, thumb down on my screen. Friday After Next is a Christmas movie.
Ooh,
that's a strong take.
I would say
it is
one of the greatest fall-offs of any trilogy ever. Friday is one of the best movies of all time.
I agree.
Yep.
Friday After Next, okay. The next one
Or the Friday After Next is the third one. Next Friday
is okay.
Yeah.
Friday
Pinky?
After Next is not good.
Pinky
Pinky?
is in next Friday, or Friday After Next. Which one is Pinky in?
I can look that up too. But I'm saying that Friday.
Next Friday.
Okay.
Maybe
That's a pretty good one.
Maybe should have been a standalone. Because Friday the movie, the first one, is an all-timer.
Well, what's the Chris Tucker is not is
That's what loses it.
Yeah, it's what loses it.
I think he's not in the third
That's
one.
what see, like for me, Willie Mays Hayes.
Okay.
Wesley Snipes not being in Major League 2, which I believe it's Omar Epps who plays Willie Mays Hayes, but it's not Willie Mays
Wake Up Out of Bed, baby.
It ain't Willie Mays
Great
Hayes.
catch, Willie. Never that bullshit
right.
again.
Try that bullshit again. So good. Great fucking catch, Hayes. Don't ever fucking do it again. And he tosses him in the dugout when he's walking in. Fucking Lou Brown.
People are proud of himself.
Nice fucking catch, Hayes. Don't ever fucking do it again. Like ass slapping him on the come into you. Let's go, babe.
All right, ladies, grab a bat.
Yeah, right.
Never do that bullshit again.
Roger Dorn when he's walking up to you with his contract in his hand. Hey, Lou, can I get a word with you? You'll see right here in my contract under stipulated says fucking zip.
Go ahead, some BP.
Fucking dude, Lou Brown. You can laugh at every single line Lou Brown delivers in Major League One.
Who do you think he was based off of?
I
would say Lou Piniella, maybe.
Lou Piniella, maybe, or who's our guy at Detroit that spends so much time? Who's so funny, dude. He's the greatest. He smokes cigarettes.
Jim.
He smokes cigarettes in the dugout the entire time, and they talk
Leland.
about Jim Leland. Jim Leland. Good pull.
This thing
Good
still
pull.
works, dude.
Yeah, bro. You may not be. You might have another day here,
Might
bro.
have a service here.
Another day. Is this Lou Brown? Yep. How would you like to manage the Cleveland Indians? Oh, I don't know. I got a guy on the other line about some white walls. Can I call you back? That guy's funny too. Who offered Charlie? He's kind of like on the other line. He's like, what? What?
Well, because if you're him, he's having to work with the woman. He's like, she's trying to tank this thing, and I'm just
Rachel.
I'm just trying to keep my my job over here.
Exactly.
Lou, we got a thing. Ainsmaker, would you come coach the offense?
Right. Hell no.
I got some things on the white wall.
Yeah. I got a new car. I'm putting some white walls on. Oh, I can't do that, man. I ain't doing that.
Thought y'all wanted Joe Brady.
I've helped you out a lot, bro, but I can't be taking that gig. That thing's a death sentence, man.
I thought it was my offense. Whose is it?
Billy Napier. Wow. Jesus. Just got a really good source from the Florida staff saying that Napier is hot on the trail of Joe Brady.
Fuck you.
Yes. Yes.
No.
No.
That can't happen. If he's interested in that, then he'll come to LSU, right?
Well, I don't. This is from Florida side. I don't know anything about.
No, but I'm
just
saying
know
all opportunities created equal. He would come back to LSU before he would go to a landscape he's never been.
I don't know if he could work. I don't know if he would work.
If Brian Kelly doesn't ask him to come to LSU, that would be probably 0 for 2 on the public persona of what he's done in Baton Rouge.
Wow, what was the first miss?
Moffitt.
Dude, I think a lot of the smoke
I
behind
understand it because he hasn't fought it.
I'm a Moffitt advocate. I love Tommy Moffitt, and it'd be hard pressed to say anything bad about Moffitt professionally.
That's a
never
bold
anything
first
personally.
move.
Yeah, but dude, it had to be done.
happen.
It had to be done.
But I don't know.
I think people almost would have respected O more for that move if he'd have done that a couple of years ago. And look, man, I'm not wishing that upon anybody because I think Tommy Moffitt is one of the best to ever do it. But it felt like his time has passed at LSU.
Why
and it
though?
felt like that because, dude, just from the eyeball test, the LSU looked out of shape the last couple of years.
Well, when the players came out and said it. So,
that was it. That was a big indictment of who was it?
Shanahan.
Rosenthal.
No. It wasn't Shanahan. It was Shanahan. Was it
Shanahan?
It was Ed
Ed
Ingram.
Ingram.
It was Ed Ingram.
Ed
Ed Ingram
Ed
said we were
Ingram.
out of shape against
Yeah.
UCLA.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, like, does it take 2 years to do that? 2019, they never had that problem. I feel like it was the quick change of when
No, dude,
the
I
offense
still
to
think
defense.
the
because-
lines of scrimmage have been out of shape for the last 5 to 8
Okay.
years.
The 2019 line of scrimmage was Joe Burrow.
Exactly.
right?
It
Okay,
really
so
was.
we could go all the way back there.
Absolutely. I think that when you look back, just offensive lines that defensive lines that have come through here, they just look different than they did 15, 20 years ago, 15, 10 years ago. I mean, it just looks different. And I don't think that, there's got to be accountability, within the program.
Everybody's under it.
And the players have accountability, but also, so does the coaching staff. And the one that is the most obvious to see whether or not, the strategy is working or not is the strength coach. You may not be able to tell the offensive line technique is out of place. His hand placement or his foot placement or his pulling, whatever it may be. Wide receiver getting off the jam. You may be able to sit in the stands and say, hey, look, he can't get off the press. But you can sit there and say, man, they look out of shape. Their jerseys don't fit like theirs do. And they're recruiting the same players. And Georgia looks different than LSU. Alabama, Texas A&M, Florida, Ole Miss looks different than LSU does, but they're all recruiting the same dudes. Mason Smith looks Alabama. B.J. Ojulari looks Texas A&M. I mean, they got some guys on there that physically look intimidating. I'm talking about 3 lines of offensive linemen as far as the depth chart goes that all look physically imposing. All of the defensive linemen can tuck their shirt into their pants and not have their gut hang over their belt loops. That's the type of stuff I'm talking. Now, there's going to be outliers, and there's going to be guys that look like they don't look athletic or agile on a football field. Yeah. But when you get to this level and you're recruiting that caliber of athlete, I mean, those cats look like Andre Carter. You know what I mean? They look like Quincy Wiggins. They look like Mason Smith. They look like Tyson Jackson. They look like Glenn Dorsey. They look like Michael Brockers. They look like Anthony Johnson. They look like all of these guys that have come through here. Daniil Hunter, Arden Key. Marquise, I mean, all of those cats that have come through here that you're like, Jesus Christ, man. I mean, they don't look like that for the most part anymore.
Yeah.
Right? And somebody's got to be accountable to that. You know what I mean? Like Ant Marshall says, Kentucky's offensive line beat the shit out of LSU. I mean, they were shoving LSU off of the ball. Yeah. Like 2, 3. I mean, LSU wasn't making contact with Kentucky's running back until 4 or 5 yards past the line of scrimmage. That's inexcusable.
UCLA was doing it.
UCLA was shoving them around.
That's even worse.
You know what I mean?
That was the worst game of the year, right? UCLA? I would say UCLA, Kentucky, Ole Miss.
I thought Auburn was bad.
Oh, I think I would have Auburn before Kentucky and Ole Miss.
Auburn, they should have won.
That's what I'm saying.
But no,
how do you define
just
bad?
Like, ugh, this looks awful.
UCLA is number 1 because it was just from the get-go. It was just...
Who was the safety for Alabama?
Battle?
No, the other one. He had the fucking boulders for shoulders. He was all over the field. I'm trying to look at him right now, but that's the kind of player that LSU gets. Like, that was the guy. He's a difference maker.
McQuinney?
He was in
Kool-Aid?
every tackle. No, not Kool-Aid.
I love Kool-Aid.
What a name.
I love Kool-Aid.
If there's anything that you can do to get his first name on your jersey, that's what you do. Like, if you can get Kool-Aid on the back instead of McKinstry.
Yeah.
But it was McBrien something. I haven't watched
Let me see.
Alabama that much because it makes me sick. And then you saw where Pete Golding was in the running for maybe LSU to bring back as a defensive coordinator. So Alabama looked good yesterday.
Are you
Oh my-
kidding me?
when
When
they
they
were-
play like that, they're not.
They're-
They're going to win the national
The
championship.
best team in the country.
And that's why Georgia sit there today. Like Kirby Smart probably.
Worst thing that could have
He
happened
probably
to him.
hasn't even blinked since leaving last night. He's probably sitting there in such a fog, thinking, "I'm gonna have to face these fuckers again."
And I don't know who my quarterback is.
And he is going to embarrass me with the best team I've ever had.
And
Again.
And this
Like,
is not Alabama's best team.
No.
Might be the best quarterback.
No, and Saban.
Absolutely.
And
I mean, he
Saban
is-
sitting back thinking, Kirby, you dumb son of a bitch, man.
Well, and Nick's going.
You thought you had your best team.
Well, Nick's looking at himself going, all you needed was a quarterback this whole time?
Yeah.
Like, this is way easier when I have somebody that can make plays
Yeah.
for me. It might be Joe Burrow's fault that Alabama looks the way it does. Because he saw
Yeah.
Burrow back there going, oh, my
Yeah.
God, if you have a playmaker.
Wasting our time.
I'm
on
waiting.
it.
Why am I having to scheme?
Give me a number 9.
Give me
a
an,
number
and
9.
he got one.
He got one.
Jeez, dude. I mean,
He's a
Heisman's
dog.
wrapped.
He would
Yeah.
be the first quarterback taken this year.
First,
I agree.
First Alabama quarterback ever to win the Heisman.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a stat.
That's crazy. I still think Tua should have won it over Kyler Murray, but
Yeah, I mean, probably so for the
Leonard
season.
should have won over Derrick Henry.
No.
Leonard
One
lost
game?
It. Leonard lost it.
One game. He fell off in the month of November.
Well, they gave
They
up.
couldn't find him. They couldn't find him in the month of
Alabama,
November.
Ole Miss, Arkansas.
They could not
It was
find
just-
him in the month of November. Now, it wasn't Lenny's fault.
No,
I mean, his
yeah.
coaching staff. It was actually Saban's fault. Saban,
You put the blueprint out.
Saban
Your fault,
saw
Nick.
the exact opportunity when LSU. That was the first. If you remember this, that was the first year of the college football playoff.
Yeah.
The first
Who
year
won
of the
it?
college football playoff. Who the fuck? do
Ohio
you think?
State won it the first year.
Ohio State.
Did Ohio
That
State
was the
win?
quarter- that was the
That's,
Cardinals.
I knew I had you. I had
got
you.
me.
No fucking.
Got me.
God damn
Got
it,
me.
Noah.
But if you remember, was Tuesday nights the rankings come out. The first Tuesday night ranking ever had Alabama 1, LSU 2.
I remember that.
With Leonard Fournette going into Tuscaloosa.
No
and it almost
chance.
felt like Saban this past week, where everybody's talking about the other team
rat
and
poison's
the other
yummy.
team is so good and the other team's running back is going to be a once-in-a-lifetime type player. And here comes Lenny and the Tigers. Cover of Sports Illustrated.
God damn it.
Now, there, look, right there.
It's right there.
Right there.
Signed.
Going
the
in.
next one.
Going in to Alabama the next week. Just totally throttled. Derrick Henry carrying Jamal Adams into the end zone. I mean, just dragging him on
Which
the
one's
ground.
worse, the Cam Newton, Patrick Peterson, or the Derrick Henry, Jamal Adams?
I was shocked at the Cam Newton, Patrick
Me too,
Peterson.
because 5 yards.
He ran away from him.
yeah.
He still caught him.
He did,
But
but
he
he
dragged
him.
him.
Oh,
He dragged him. But he did run away from him at the start of that run.
Which was shocking.
That was the most shocking part. I mean, Cam is a big old dude. To not be able to
Yeah.
pull him
but
down
Pat,
to the
but he
ground.
wants to pick him up and put him down, was
Right.
the fastest
But-
player on the field.
And he also
And
put
he was like, oh,
but he
shit, I
also
gotta
put
go.
his head down
Yeah,
and
I gotta
sprinted
go.
at him and thought, holy shit,
Shit.
I didn't get there. For probably the first time in his life.
yeah.
The first time in his life he ever thought, I'm about to show you I'm the best athlete on this field, and I'm not.
Well,
Or there's somebody as good as me.
right, I have to go to my real gear.
Yes.
Like, I had no idea I'd have to catch him like this. Because you
Oh, I
saw
have to turn
with,
it- I have to turn
I
it
turned
on?
on.
Yeah.
Who was number one for Alabama? When you saw it, when he caught the
Jaquaz Williams.
from Ohio State.
Dude.
When he put it in that extra gear,
He almost ran himself out of bounds.
Oh, Jameson Williams?
Jameson Williams.
He almost ran. He was running
He was
so fast he
so
couldn't control
fast.
himself.
their
When he
celebration.
tiptoes on the I love those.
It's.
What's it?
Fucking Alabama's
What's
so
the deal
cool.
with his Meach? Is
I think
Mechie's toast.
Mechie, yeah, they said maybe a torn ACL. Like he's
I mean,
out,
it was no
out,
contact. It was
yeah.
bad. It was bad.
But when he turned on the Jets, because the safety was eyeing him up like, oh, I'm going
Yeah.
to catch him here in
Yeah,
a
he
second.
did,
And
he
was
was.
like, oh
And he
my
didn't touch him.
God. He's like, I'm not
He
going to
didn't.
go
He
close.
didn't even put his hands on him.
No. It was a track meet. And
it
he was
was.
like, I'm not. I
Should've-
didn't take the angle I thought I should have. Same feeling. Like,
He
look,
reminded me of Reuben Randall. Remember when Reuben Randall caught that post against Alabama?
All whites?
And he went in the all whites. No, this is against. This is.
oh,
In,
I'm thinking Auburn.
yeah,
But
this is.
that was
I think that was the first touchdown they scored against Alabama like in 5 years. When Jordan Jefferson hit Reuben Randall across the middle, and
Gone
Randall was
City.
running away from.
Hit the sidelines.
He was running away from Alabama's secondary.
But that was shocking.
That was shocking.
And
that
that's
was
the guy
shocking.
that Ohio State gave up because
And you could tell right
Because
there.
their receiving room is
And you could tell right
stacked.
there that Georgia was like,
they're
oh
better than we
shit.
are.
Yeah.
They're better than we
Oh
are.
shit! Nobody's made that play on us.
When Georgia was up 10-0, I was like, okay, that's what Georgia needed was a 2-possession lead, lean back on their defense, and then Bryce Young was like, okay, and just woke
Game
up.
started.
He looks
Just woke
so.
up.
He looks like this is a big comparison, but does he not? Does his game not give you an Aaron Rodgers feel where he's like floating and floating
yeah,
and never? He's never under rush. Like he never feels like, oh, I have to get rid of it. I have to do anything.
What confused me was why was Georgia not blitzing more? Like if you
They didn't want to get out of
that
their
either.
fit. They've won.
Yeah,
they've
but I
won the
mean,
same
you-
way
you
all
have
year.
When that thing started rolling downhill on you, bro, I mean, it was like,
because if you let him
Look
sit
at what
back,
LSU did to him.
if
Like,
you let him sit back with no pressure, he's going to dice.
well,
you
one's
up.
going to get open.
Yeah, like
It's going to be very interesting.
crazy.
That shifted the playoff in my mind,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Because you would think Georgia was going into that game.
yes,
six and a
they
half
felt
point favorite.
unbeatable this year.
I was trying to figure
Little
out who was
Alabama
going
money line over here.
I was trying to figure out who was going to fill in Bama's spot. That's what I was thinking the whole day. Was okay if Oklahoma State loses, it's going to be Notre Dame, and then I was like, oh shoot, Bama won. Doesn't matter.
Shit, they beat their ass too, man.
They don't want to play them again.
No,
No.
way. I don't think anybody wants to play them. Cincinnati's thinking, oh my god, we get to the playoff and we got to play Alabama. Legitimately, like we got to play Alabama. Welcome to the welcome to
And
the dance.
not Alabama regular season.
No.
This Alabama,
This
they're treating it like an NFL team.
Yes.
we're ramping
They're
up for the
they're
playoffs.
They're
Absolutely.
LeBroning it.
They are.
Yes.
They're load managing the regular season.
I can't wait for him to look back on some of these seasons where he's like, I can't believe we won the national championship with that team. You know what I mean? Like,
He was shocked to be on the podium last
for
night.
sure.
He was loving it. Like Nick Saban was excited to be up there.
Yeah. Oh no. He is buzzing.
Yeah.
He
He's
can't believe they're going to
buzzing.
do it again.
He's buzzing.
And he loved all the fodder.
Oh, dude.
Oh,
I
a
mean,
little rat
the
poison.
rat poison-
I mean,
I
listen,
do want
yummy.
that one.
that
yummy.
that comment is as comfortable as I've ever
When he
heard him
said
talk
the word
about.
yummy, I was like,
I know. It was.
did I really hear that?
From Nick Saban. A comfortable Nick Saban might be scarier than a uncomfortable Nick
100%.
Saban.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So scary.
100%.
No.
All right, we appreciate you being here on this Sunday night. Remember the losses of Lance Beal. Very special thanks to Mickey Joseph, now the associate head coach for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, formerly in that position at LSU for the last 5 seasons. Great insight, great conversation with Mick. We also talked to BJ Ojulari. Lloyd and I also fought over a hot microphone that was available for your entertainment. So if you're back
Nothing
and listen
better.
to that, there is nothing better.
Nothing better.
And it lives on forever.
That's
like
what I'm
people will have that forever. There
Forever.
was that Sunday night.
I wish the camera would have been on so we could have seen my face. I was just like,
Because, dude, if you've never been a part
Right.
of like radio like
Right.
we have, like this
Right.
is not even a fight. Like
I
a
was just
real
like-
fight is a fight.
yeah, okay, I'm just gonna.
But Noah being like, oh, this is how it goes sometimes. Like, yeah, dude. Like, I don't know how to fucking fix this thing, dude. Figure it out. Time out, dude. Give me a fucking time
No,
out.
shut the fuck up. I don't want
I don't
to hear
wanna hear
anything.
excuses.
Don't tell me anything. Save your bullshit for another day,
Because you
dude.
don't know what else to say. Because you don't know how to fix it
Yeah, 'cause
either.
even if you tell me what you're doing, I don't know if it's right or
Right.
wrong.
I'm
You know
Like,
what I
what
mean?
the goddamn
So just shut the
shit.
fuck up and fix it.
Fix it.
Turn it off, turn it back on.
I don't know what happened, Jody. I don't give a fuck.
Fix
Fix
it.
it. Fix it. That's all I care about. Fix it.
And
Thank you for watching tonight. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.
LinkedIn.com. This is where music would go.